Hey, I'm trying to live until I die. Come connect, you know it's a lewd state of mind. Yeah, yeah, talking traveling. If you wanna fly, fitness and finance, living a better life, keep it raw, no filter, living with no limit. Thank you for tuning in. Come on, let's get it.
Welcome to Lured State of Mind. Thank you for coming along this morning. It's a brisk Sunday morning.
It's a fabulous Sunday morning, as are all of them.
Good to be here.
Great to have you guys. Thank you very much.
It's been a while.
It's been a while. Can you introduce yourselves to our listeners and our viewers, please?
Well, I'm Kennedy.
Kennedy. That's
I'm
a
Kelly.
good start.
I'm Danny's sidekick. It's a bit of Kelly and Kennedy.
Kelly.
Danny's sidekick.
That makes me Danity, probably.
Danny.
Also known as Danny Kennedy.
What do you do, Danny?
Bits and pieces. Gym owner, personal trainer. Yeah.
Yeah,
Fitness
just
extraordinaire.
just general good guy.
Yeah, try to be most of the time.
100% is. 100%.
Danny's Health and Fitness established in 1999.
1999, last century.
24 years, if my math is correct.
Correct.
It is correct.
24 years. February just gone.
Wow, amazing. What a journey.
Yes, it's been a good journey, but we're in a best place ever now in the whole 24 years. So it's good. 24 years of work has got us to what we are today. That's all.
That just 24 years?
Just 24 years. That's all. And maybe some work before that as well.
And just for our viewers, we've known each other for 20 years. So I've been in Australia 20 years. I got off the boat and you were one of my first clients.
Yeah, indeed. Yes.
And
Zoom.
Zoom Sign Company.
Zoom Sign
Was it
Company.
Republic? I don't know. I can't remember. It's a long time ago. So that's how we met.
Yes.
That's how we met. And of course, I've used your facilities and your services.
Indeed. And you've done very good staff uniforms.
Oh, and I do that as well. I do a lot for you
Mate, you
guys,
do
don't
everything.
I?
You do a lot.
I do the gym towels.
Yes. Yeah, indeed.
The gym towels. I've got about
towels.
5 of them.
Hot salad.
Yeah. Yeah. And we need more, by the way, just
I know
quickly. So-
there's an order pending at the moment.
Well, it's the same handful of people that don't bring a towel and then they buy another one.
They
the
forget.
next
Yeah,
one.
and I'm one of those. Yeah, as I said, I've got 5 of them.
Yeah.
I'm collecting them.
Yeah.
Maybe I should just sell them back to you.
Yeah, just wash it and put it
somewhere.
back in the
Yeah.
pile. We'll
Hey-
have a Brendan Gray pile just
Yeah, yeah.
waiting to resell you.
Hey, before we go any further, we've got to thank our sponsors, Buckfast. You guys you haven't had Buckfast before. You got some in front
This
of
is
you.
my first.
Yes.
I'll tell you what.
Don't mind a good buck fast.
Cheers, guys. Once again,
Cheers, chin,
thank you
chin.
very much.
Cheers, cheers,
And
cheers.
thank you to
Cheers,
Rob and Joe at Chapel Street Cellars, which are they're the Australasian distributors for Buckfast. Buckfast.
Buck fast.
You gotta be
really
careful
unique.
how you say it. It is very,
Yeah.
it's very
much.
unique. Apparently, it's got more caffeine in it than Red Bull.
Oh, wow.
Now, that's what they tell me. That's not my opinion, and we don't want any lawsuits from Red Bull
Fair enough. Too.
if the stats aren't correct.
Yeah.
So, as I said, my podcast career is young, and I'm sure I'm going to say something to fuck it up one of these days. But in the meantime, let's get back to your journey. 24 years. Where did it all start for you and your fitness journey?
Well, there's 24 years of the fitness journey of Kennedy's, the business, but there's another, is it 15? 15 years before that in the fitness industry, if you want to rewind that far or not.
Hey,
No,
I
we do
reckon.
Depends on how
rewind
much
that
time
far.
we
He
have.
was my aerobics instructor when I was 15
I
years
reckon
old.
we've got a photo of you, Ash, because we've got the lovely Ash behind the desk today. Mav's having a bit of a break.
Thanks, Ash.
Thanks, Ash. We've got a really nice photo of Danny back in the day.
Back in the day, young Danny.
Back in the day.
This is a
Oh,
Rover-sized
here we
Danny.
go.
Goodness.
Look at that.
That's one of my favourite all-time Danny photos.
Oh, my God. How many
That's the
how many
Danny.
times did you have to do that before they got the shot right?
Probably, I don't know, 3, 4, 5. But that was the best, obviously, shot caught with the leg as
Wow.
that high. That'd be about 1991.
Can you tell me where that is?
That's in Seaford,
Clow Street.
in Clow Street. A gym was called Peninsula Sports and Leisure. It had, you can kind of see in the background in that photo a little bit, like a bit of a big shed thing behind those windows.
Oh, I do see that.
So there was actually 6 indoor tennis courts.
Wow.
Yes,
That's
6.
huge.
That's huge. There was about 5 squash courts. Underneath where I'm standing, there's a swimming pool, sauna, spa. To the left of where I'm standing is the weight training gym area. Out the back, there was a 200-metre golf driving range.
Jesus. Is that facility still there today?
The shed's there, but it's not a
The
facility.
building
it's
is still there, but
transport
that
only.
stopped being a gym. Let me see. I left that business in about 1998, 99 is when I started Kennedy's, so it closed in about year 2000,
Wow.
roughly, about a
So
year or
he
so
was my
after I left.
aerobics instructor when I was 15 years old, so 35 years ago. My step Reebok guy, you know, with the steps.
Yes.
Step up.
Yeah.
So I could not have been a bigger fan if I tried. I would get off the train at Cannock Station. So I lived in Mount Eliza. I went to school at Mentone. Would get off at Cannock Station with my blazer, school bag, flapping in the wind, sprinting to not miss one of those classes.
4 o'clock on a Monday.
Running, like, would not miss it. With my matching outfit.
It
I
was
just
specifically-
very serious.
How do you feel about that now? Recounting that
I love it to
those
this
fangirl
day.
moments.
I love it to this day.
Danny, did you see the sly little
Diligent.
raise of the eyebrows there?
There was so, there was just lines of steps and just everyone trying to do their very best moves for the aerobics guy.
Well, see, from a marketing point of view, I was gym manager at that facility at the time and taught aerobics, of course, about 7 or 8, 10 aerobic classes a week and, you know, did gym programs and all that kind of stuff for people in the gym. And we were trying to... The business before we got there went broke. So I came to that business. Before that, I was managing a gym in South Yarra. And someone who was a member at the gym in South Yarra said, hey, we've bought a property down in Seaford that was essentially a building or that was being sold as the land because the business went broke.
Yep.
They had money. They bought literally just real estate that was going cheap, but it just happened to be a gym. And they didn't know anything about it. They were in the carpet textiles industry. And so one of the guys who was at the gym I was at in South Yarra, the Ultimate Sporting Club, he said, hey, we've bought a property down there. Can you come and have a look? It's a gym. You know, so anyway, one thing led to another, and then they ended up poaching me from South Yarra to go down to Seaford to manage the gym. And part of all different things like introducing rollerblading, and we also introduced on those 5 tennis courts, we introduced netball.
Oh,
which,
cool.
Which had never been there. And then there was like over 100 teams playing netball.
So did they buy the building with the equipment in it? So it was like a lock stock deal with the building and the existing equipment?
Like a
think-
turnkey kind of.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the gym equipment might have gone and they bought a bunch of new stuff, but was also secondhand new stuff. So,
Okay.
but so part of again the things we were doing, we're trying to put on new things. So on a Monday at 4 o'clock, I thought, let's put on a secondary school's step class, and some secondary school girls came along Monday at 4 o'clock to that one class.
Also did many ladies, not just secondary school ladies, but it built over the time too.
I'm sure
More
it
step
was
classes.
an absolute hit.
There was 30
Step was
30
rock at
30
its
aerobic
height.
classes for the week or something. But
Yeah.
Wow.
that was one of them.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That was the industry. Like, I mean, cheapers back in the day, teaching those classes, like that was 4 o'clock. I did a 6 o'clock class, a high energy class, and that had built up into its maximum of 100 people.
We're talking.
Massive. It was a big space.
We're pretty much talking the heyday of
Absolute peak.
the
I think.
fitness fanatic phase.
Yeah.
Fitness
Would you
fanatic
agree?
this is from an aerobics point of view.
Yeah.
Because aerobics after that started to, in years down the track, started to go down in popularity.
Well, I mean, you find that throughout the history of the fitness
Everything.
industry, don't you? You know, you've got these fly-by-nighters, you've got these trends, you've got these phases that,
Yeah.
you know, like I was going to say F45, but F45 is still alive to this day. But that concept of that 45-minute hit class, it's described.
Yeah.
There's been versions of that throughout the last decade and a half that have sort of come and gone. So from looking at those trends or those phases back then, in your mind, what have you seen come and go, and why, in your opinion, do you think they haven't hung around?
Probably the biggest thing that pops to mind that in the general fitness industry, as far as comes and goes point of view, was a company called Curves. Curves used the hydraulic equipment that we have still some of,
Yep.
which serves a certain purpose. But Curves were a small little business, not much bigger than this room, probably maybe a little bit bigger. Had basically 15 pieces or 20 pieces of equipment in it. Hydraulic push-pull, very easy to do. Can't do it wrong, can't drop it on your foot. Anyway, Curves exploded to the biggest franchise in the world, pretty much in its growth speed of growth factor. But then after a while, it also went down to the point where now, of course, it doesn't exist.
Is it gone, is it?
It's gone, because I do believe so. Anyway, if there's any left, there's...
Can we fact check that, please, Ash?
Yeah, there might be 3 left in the world.
Wasn't Curves ladies only?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But the problem with Curves was sameness.
It was just the same circuit, never changed.
Same.
Boring.
Every time
Same,
you went,
same.
you did the exact same thing.
How would you think in the industry that was going to be a stayer? You know, because the one thing about fitness in the fitness industry is shit can get boring and
Yeah.
people lose interest.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest cause of people not working out is they go, don't want to do the same
Well,
thing.
they were also marketing to a certain clientele.
Or
They were
female
marketing
only.
Female only,
Oh,
who were not necessarily
There's
so radically...
there's a
They
level
weren't
curves.
regular gym goers. They weren't regular gym goers.
So we've just found out that Curves is still around.
So we're going to edit that out?
There's a few of them. No, that's why we fact check stuff.
That's
It's
cool.
not like they're going to sue us. I mean, hey, we've
One, two, three,
corrected the ledger
10. 11 Curves in
in Melbourne.
Melbourne.
Did you
Probably
know?
once upon a time there was 100.
Did
But
you know
they've
that
quite
the
possibly changed as well.
Yeah.
That they would have known they're probably not doing the exact circuit anymore. They're probably
Oh, no, they-
incorporating other things. Like
surely they'd have
Pilates
to
would go to or
evolve.
something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Did you know that the biggest gyms in Australia, number one anytime fitness in Australia, is the largest
that
gym
doesn't
facility?
surprise me.
Number
That have the largest amount of
franchisees or outlets.
outlets.
Yep. Fitness and Lifestyle Group. Do you know? Do you recognise that name?
No.
Can you Google that, please, Ash?
So I imagine they've got a few different ones under their banner there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Number 3 is F45.
No surprise.
And number 4 is Viva Leisure. I'd never heard of Viva.
Never.
I did some Google searching and realised that they do exist. And
In saying that, though, I think that I don't know they exist because I don't feel like we are in competition with anyone because I feel like
No.
they're quite unique. So I don't think I pay any mind to other gyms because of that.
well, you're like
I think that we're so unique that there's no comparable.
no, you don't fit into that
Gym,
box,
no.
and there's a reason why, isn't it, Danny?
100%.
Yeah.
Exactly right. Yes. I don't like to... Well, quite often when people come to Kennedy's who've never been to Kennedy's and they, how much is it to join the gym? Can we have a look around? What do you do here? What can you do for me kind of thing? In my showing them and walking around and explaining the dollars that are involved in Kennedy's for a member to pay, etc., in comparison to payments and procedures, let me use that word, at other facilities and what I term big box gyms in the industry, is that I quite often say to people standing in front of me, I'm an abnormal gym owner.
Ain't that the truth?
That's perfect.
Because-
it's perfect.
We don't have joining fees. We don't have contracts. We don't have 30-day cancellation rubbish like
Yep.
the big gyms. Doesn't take 30 days to cancel your gym membership. Takes 2 or 3, maybe actually 1.
Barely. You push a button.
It's
Well, you're all
exactly
online
right.
now, so you can
Yeah.
manage it as well, as you
You
say.
literally
That's
just push
right.
the cancel
Yeah.
button.
So, so I don't like to be normal
That's well, what is
or,
normal?
or average.
Yeah, exactly.
if-
Nobody wants to be normal or average.
Yes,
do that.
that's right.
No, that's the one thing about Kennedy's is that, as I said, you don't fit into a box, and your layout and your equipment is not mainstream. Your processes are not mainstream, and it's more like a family-run business where you know everybody knows you. Every time I come in or out, you always give me a wave.
Yeah.
Everybody's friendly. The environment is just so inviting, and it just makes you want to come and train.
So when I'm talking to people and I sound like I'm selling the business, and I say to them, if I did not work here, I'd be telling you the exact same thing. And I think Danny's, you would call it an ethos, he just wants it to be easy to get in and easy to get out. He just wants you to work out. He wants somebody to be moving as easy as they can. So we have some people who join only in winter, then they cancel.
Yep.
And they go back out when the weather's good. We have some people that come every Christmas and visit their family, and they just join for that month that they're in the state, and then they turn off their tag, and then they're gone again.
Well, as you say, because you've
Because
got
they
the
can.
facilities to
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah, and there's nothing intimidating about the space. Everyone that comes into that space, I know for sure, will be welcomed by the other members, and not in an obtrusive way. Just, hey, if you need, and if they see someone struggling, it's kind. It's ruled by kindness and understanding, and we will do what we can to fit how it works for you, because we want you to come. So whether it's a $5 visit once a week, a trial, I think that's probably the key to
Well, we
our
know-
growth currently.
We know in the industry the rate of failure for people to attend on a regular basis is quite high. I mean, people sign up after Christmas because they've had too much Christmas pud, and they get the guilt, and they sign up with a business, and then they don't use their membership.
Yeah.
You know, or they don't cancel their membership. You know,
Yeah.
and I was just doing some research on the stats of people that actually do that. It's quite high.
Yeah.
It's very high. You know, and as you say, with you and your systems, you want people to come in and work out on a regular basis, because that's what it's all about. It's about that consistency. You don't get results overnight. Everybody knows that. You know, you've got to keep working it. It's the same with anything, whether you're working on your body or you're working on a business. That's exactly what you need. Is you
The
need that
consistency
consistency.
is that growth.
Exactly.
Consistent work gets consistent results, Brendan.
Yes, I know.
Consistent with an E.
Hey, that wasn't my typo.
Are you sure?
No, it wasn't my typo. I was just doing. I'll get the text up that Danny sent me. It's probably in there. That's all right. We
Wow.
fixed it.
It's all good.
So there's one quote on the wall of your gym which I reckon is pretty poignant.
Yes.
Can you tell me that quote? Tell her.
Quote is, we don't stop moving because we grow old.
Yep.
We grow old because we stop moving.
Correct. Correctamundo.
And that goes to another scenario of moving your body, not only just moving, but as we get to adults and older, you know, we stop stretching, and then the body gets stiffer and doesn't move as well and gets stiffer and stiffer and stiffer. So I always, again, kind of say, if you ever see a cat or a dog on the ground and it's had a sleep, what's the first thing it does when it wakes up?
Yeah, it stretches.
It stretches.
Yeah.
Innately, animals stretch for survival, whatever, in the wild. Certainly not puppy dogs in houses and cats these days. But innately, the animal world stretches and keeps lithe and limber, but as humans, we don't, unless we're told by someone to stretch in a gym or somewhere. Pilates,
Or it's
yoga.
part of our
Routine.
and regime.
Yeah. And of course, the more limber you are and the more strength you have, not the more strength you have like you want to squat 100 kilograms as a human just to survive, but the more strength you have in your legs when you're getting older particularly, but I'm talking, 60s, 70s, 80s, the ability to get up out of a chair and get in and out of the car when those thighs are not being used and therefore getting weaker and weaker and weaker, life gets harder. But when you're a little bit fitter, or a little bit stronger, life is then easier.
And you get that flow-on effect, don't you?
Yeah.
Huge. Yes.
I mean, even
indeed.
for me at 50, at the top of my regime is working out and, as you say, stretching and keeping fit and keeping healthy. Because if I'm going snowboarding or I'm wakeboarding and I have an injury or I'm not in peak physical fitness for my age, I'm going to get injured, and then the flow-on effect from that is even worse than not working out in the first place, isn't it? I mean, we'll talk about our hip replacements a little bit later on, but yeah, I can't understand why people don't make health and fitness part of like the number one priority in their lives.
Yeah.
You know, and I always say that if I'm not fit and healthy, how can I be the best dad to my son or husband to my wife? You know, it's the same with 8 hours of sleep. It's part of that whole package that as you get older should be just at the top of your list.
And it's not even just a physical thing. It's actually, which we know more than ever before, but the mental health aspect of moving your body and doing a workout or a walk or a run, I think has really come to the forefront, even as a driver for some people that maybe didn't have an actual interest in fitness for itself. All these things that we know now, that you do need all that sleep and you do need to move your body for the function of it, your mental health. Even being in the gym and meeting people and interacting with people. Some people are very enclosed in their lives and they need that interaction with other humans. Like it's tenfold what you get from a gym.
Well, you're getting a workout, and sometimes you're getting a psychology session or you know, as you say, with the talking and interacting with people.
Yeah.
I mean, me personally, I'm not a group trainer. I go to the gym because I'm focusing on myself. But a lot of people do the group training that you guys offer for not just the fitness, the general fitness, but just to interact with other people. And you know, 6 o'clock in the morning, and they're jibber jabbering and having fun and laughing and carrying on.
Exactly. Yeah, that's right.
You
It's
know?
almost like a social outlet.
Yeah.
As from a marketing kind of perspective and all those kind of business thoughts from business owners in the fitness industry, there was a thing I learned many years ago where they said that you want to try and make your gym, as in if you own a gym or manage a gym, the third place. First place work. Sorry, first place home.
Yep.
Second place work. Third place, the bowls club, the pub, the gym, whatever it is,
Yep.
So that third place is a place that takes time in someone's week, but where they go there for that time to release their brain and their body and enjoy themselves and be away from work, be away from the family, but also can be with the family. And just to be that third place that they go, during their week.
As a haven. Well, it's a haven for me. It's an integral part of my existence.
Yeah.
Is working out. And
so the mental health thing's different for you though, because yours is more about yourself, but it's still going to have mental health benefits of physically moving your body.
Oh, for sure.
You get all the dopamine and that sort of stuff from that movement, plus that's where you probably do your thinking. Like,
well, I'm bipolar, so as part of my everyday regime to keep my balance, I have to work out.
yeah.
You know, and when I don't work out, I get out of balance. And if anybody knows anybody with bipolar, it's about you're bipolar as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's about a baseline and creating a baseline where you're constantly keeping it on an even keel.
Yeah.
And it's not a struggle. I mean, people say, yeah, you struggle. I don't struggle because I understand about cause and effect.
And you've got a routine.
Yeah, and it's, as I said, it's an integral part of my life is keeping that balance, and exercise is a major part of that. And if I don't exercise, then I pay down the track, or I pay in one way, and my boat's out of balance, you know. So mental health. I mean, the good thing about it is that people are talking about it now.
Exactly.
It's at the front of mind.
Yeah.
And you guys, what you do, are, as I said, an integral part of that for people that, even if they don't realise they have a mental issue, you know,
or just stress and of life and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Again, you go somewhere, you exercise. When you leave in that building, you're feeling better. The brain's in a better space.
all these chemicals are running around, you know, doing what they should do.
Yes.
So
I was
it's
diagnosed 15 years ago and put on lithium, and I'm a bit manic. Has anyone ever been to a
no,
gym
I didn't
knows?
notice that.
Anyway, and it was just, to me, when they put me on that medication, it just was like being a shell. I was like trapped in myself. So I wasn't crying anymore and I wasn't heightened anymore, but I was just nothing. And I said to them all, look, I just don't want to live like that. Like, that's not me. Anyway, innately that's not me, because I'm a people person.
Yeah.
But I discovered that exercise has the same effect on me. So if I'm really manic or really, which I call like a dark cloud, movement does the same thing to me.
Yeah.
So I'm not medicated. But I know I have to be conscious of moving.
Yeah.
Like, even if it's not a workout, I've got to move to get my boat back into balance. And even when I'm doing a class and I say whatever it is that they don't want to do, burpees or something, I say to them, hate me now, but you'll love me later. Like, it's the truth. Once they've left, best workout. But
Fucking
when they're in the
burpees.
middle of it, they hate it. They're the king, I'll have you know. I love a
I
burpee.
know. This podcast is brought to you in part by Buckfast. What is Buckfast, you ask? Well, let me tell you. It's better known as Bucky, and it's an internationally enjoyed, unique tasting tonic wine. It's equally rich in heritage as it is in taste. It packs a punch from 15% alcohol and about the same amount of caffeine as a well-known drink that gives you wings. Buckfast's enjoyment is only rivaled by its versatility from the cooking pot to the wine or cocktail glass. Drink it straight, mix it in a Negroni, or use it as a marinade. Available Australia-wide and distributed by Beeblebrox Beverages. Visit beeblebrox.com.au to find your closest stockist, and buckfast.com for cocktail and recipe ideas. How everything started with you. I mean, we saw the photo of you doing the aerobics and all those schoolgirls wooning over you. Swooning.
Well, I think that he was just always that up vibe, and it made you want to go too. So even though I thought he was the best step Reeboker in the whole of the land, it was also, he's always been able to keep people up.
Do you find that hard to do on a constant basis? Do you have to work at it, or is it just something that just comes in? Like, do you sit down at the start of the day and go, I just can't be fucked, and then something switches and you just get into it?
Well, I guess, of course, everyone has those days. I can have those days, depending on what else is going on in the world or whatever that may be. But it's. I always then just like to put those things. I'd make a decision essentially, and just right. It's time to go. It's time to be on. It's time to do it now. It's time to work.
Yep.
And boom, it was a bit like, again, getting back to the teaching aerobics side of it. You'd be just, having whatever kind of a day, and then literally when you'd go out to teach an aerobic class, you'd press play, and then bang, it's on, and you have to be on and up.
Yep.
And motivate that 20 or 30 or 50 or 100 people in front of you and give them a good workout and be motivating to them and energetic and etc. So if you stood there and went like this,
Well, you just can't. You can't do.
everyone's going to leave the room.
Yeah.
So, you've just got to be up and just got to be on and just do it.
What's the most exciting part of your day? Do you still get excited about what you do?
Absolutely. Look, I guess you don't stay doing the same job for kind of 39 years if you don't like it, generally. The biggest thing that my motivation is people's bodies changing, and I can see that they're a little bit stronger. I can see that they're a little bit fitter. I can see that they're more flexible. I can see that they're having less back issues because they're using our new red stretching bench up near the front, or whatever that stretching routine may be, even if it's 3, 4, 5 minutes. So people getting results, and then when they leave my premises and they go out into the world, into their lives, and their lives have then been enriched and made easier from what they've achieved at Kennedy's, or could be any gym, of course. I like that.
That's where the satisfaction comes, when you can see
It's
results and
tangible.
see the
Yeah.
As we were talking about before, look, it doesn't happen overnight. That consistent work gets you
It's consistent results.
consistent results.
And I think we
Yes.
have a lot of people that come to our gym because there's no selling and they don't feel obliged. So they come, and a lot of people will come to us and say, I've heard through Facebook, someone puts a thing out, is there a local gym you think? And we're lucky that word of mouth, which I think is the best way of advertising, Kennedy's, go there. And they come in and they say, I haven't been to the gym for 20 years. And we say to them, well, there's classes if you want to do a group. If you don't think you've got the driver, you can do a class. If you want one-on-one, we've got PT. You can do training that's functional if you're finding that you're not moving well. We can do strength training. We can do boxing. And they're not obligated. They can try a lot of different things. And they start at their level. They don't come in at the top of the pops. Like you say to them, come and do a circuit class with us. When you're on that station, you're operating at your level, not what the guy that just did that station was doing. He could have been doing that for a year. You just do. If you need to stop. If you need a drink, get a drink.
Go
And
your
I
own
think
pace.
it gives them that safety to
People need to hear that.
learn. Yeah, and to come in and learn it.
Yeah, it's about education. The
Yeah.
same with anything, as
Yeah.
you say. They need to be instructed, because as you say, if you haven't trained in 20 years,
Yeah.
you've got to start back at the bottom and learn the basics again.
And I
they
think
tend
that's
to stay.
yeah.
They tend to stay.
I think that's a really, to be honest, sad thing that stops people going or getting into any exercise regime, or particularly, I think, going to a gym. The thing that stops a lot of people who've never been to a gym going to a gym is that I've got to get fit first before I go to the gym.
Well, that's an oxymoron, isn't it?
Yes,
That's common.
but it's sad that that's the case. And look, whether that's the concept of perception from what they see in media, and pink fluorescent G-strings. I'm not talking.
I miss those days. I do
1991,
miss those days.
1983. That kind of stuff. That perception of who goes to a gym through media and TV and all those kind of things. It's painted not very well, with, if I can use the term, Barbie dolls running around everywhere and all that kind of stuff, or Schwarzeneggers, and that scares people. I've got to get fit before I go to the gym. Well, no, you don't, actually. You can come in, we have 70-year-old people come along to the gym who haven't been to a gym for 10, 20, 30 years, or ever, and we give them an appropriate, achievable exercise program, and they get a little bit fitter. Now, here's another thing that I think people out there who don't go to a gym think of fitness. I think they think of fitness as in, of course, which is normal, that someone's really fit. He runs 5 or 10 kilometres, he bench presses 100 kilograms, he's fit and strong, right? Well, my idea of fitness is I want you to be fitter. I want you to be stronger. So if you are literally coming in as either, whether you're a 19-year-old who's never done exercise or played sport, or a 79-year-old, I don't care. If you've got like a 1 out of 10 fitness base or a 1.5 out of 10 strength base, I want to get you to 3 out of 10, because that's, pardon me, a shitload better than 1. And 4 is a lot better than 3.
Yep.
And 5 is a lot better than 1. I don't want you to get to 8 or 9 or 10. I don't want to get you squatting 100 kilograms or running 10 kilograms. I don't want you to do that. I want you to get from 1, back on the microphone.
Yeah.
I want you to get from 1 up to either 3 or 4 or 5.
Well, it just
because your world, your life will be so much better and easier.
It just makes perfect sense, doesn't it?
Don't go to 8, 9 or 10. You don't have to get to 8, 9 or 10. You don't have to be fit. You be fitter than what you are in your daily life. And if your daily life is difficult, getting groceries out of the back of the car, lifting a vacuum cleaner, lifting a ladder up on the side of the house, and it's difficult and it's whatever, let's make it a little bit better. But I don't want you to be Schwarzenegger or any crazy fit person. I just want you to be fitter and better than what you are, so your life is then better.
That's the great thing about your gym, is the range of clients is from the young to the old, and you've had clients for your entire history, for 20-something years, and they're still there working out today. And you see them there, and you go, man, I've got to take my hat off to you guys, because that getting back to that consistency. But everybody feels comfortable in the environment that you've created, and as you said, you've got all these strings in your bow with all these different
like ways
services, and you're catering to anybody and everybody. As you say, from like Mav, who's 14 years old, that's playing rugby and footy, and he's just learning about lifting weights, and he's learning correctly how to do it, which is the way it should be, and it's a nice, nurturing environment. Everybody's happy. Everybody wants to pass on knowledge and help. And then you've got the older clients that, as I said, I've got to take my hat off to them. But getting back to what we're saying is that it should be part of your life, and it should be part of your regime. Whether it's 1 or 2 days a week, or whether it's 4 or 5. And the good thing about it is that your place isn't pretentious. You don't have these big beefcakes walking around, just taking selfies and Instagram, shots of themselves, or Twitter or Twitch or whatever it is. There's not that. And the great thing about that is that people don't feel intimidated, as you say, about thinking that they need to be fit to go to the gym first.
No.
And you don't have to take yourself that seriously either. So some people think you've got to be there for an hour or 2 hours. We don't actually. You can, one day you might smash out a good workout in 15 minutes, or our classes are 30-minute classes, and people will say, oh, that seems pretty quick. But you literally can get in, get out, and you're the driver of how much output you've got in that class. You might do 2 in a row and take it easy for the 2. You might smash out your 30 minutes at 100%. Your 100%, not my 100%.
Exactly.
Yeah, and
It's like running.
Opportunity to do that. Yeah.
It's like running. I mean, you'll feel shit, and you'll go put your shoes on and go, I just don't want to do this today. And you might go have a great run, or you might have a shitty run. I mean, the chances are, 6 or 5 times out of 10, you might have an average run, but you've had a run.
Yeah.
And it's the same with going to the gym. I mean, you don't have to smash out 110% every time you go there, because when you think about it, it's not really humanly possible, is it?
Yeah.
No.
Like Goggins. We're not all Goggins.
Everybody needs rest and repair as well too. I was going to talk to you about recovery. As a 50-year-old male, I'm actually finding it harder as I get older to recover. Is there something that I shouldn't be doing that you could
recover in what?
As in, like, I'll have I try to train 4 to 5 days a week. Now they're not, as I said, they're not always high intensity workouts. But getting up in the morning and feeling that muscle soreness and that stiffness, the good thing about that is that you know you've had a good workout. But it seems to be getting harder. And is it because I'm overworking? Is it because I'm not doing something I should be doing? Yeah, like I stretch and
I guess it's all relevant to the amount of work that has been put in before that. Like, for example, if X amount of weeks ago you had X amount of weeks off,
yep,
and then you lose a bit of that condition, and you come back, and if you've gone in, as I know how you train, hard.
Is it that obvious?
Yeah, not
Yeah.
like you push hard, like you.
That's your whole life.
Because I've done a lot of
100%.
I just
done
love.
a lot of personal training with you.
Yeah.
You don't give in.
No, fuck no.
No, you keep pushing.
You know me, yeah.
You keep pushing until there's nothing left.
Yeah.
And that's good. But I guess you've got to control that as well. Like in your sessions, especially if you've had X amount of weeks off, you can't go to 100 miles an hour first week, I don't think, anyway.
Yep.
And that could be maybe where you can get sore a little bit
Okay.
as well. But I guess it's just having your weekly even plan before the week starts with your 4 to 5 sessions that you know you're going to have, and not be doubling up on certain body parts, you know,
Yep.
a couple of days in a row, etc. Stretching, and that can always.
And of course nutrition as
help.
well too, which is really important.
Did you say you
Nutrition.
do stretch though?
Yeah, I try to
does.
stretch after every session. Yeah.
And
yeah.
you were mentioning
And before.
in that
Oh, and
runners,
before.
that runners podcast
Yeah.
that you did,
Yeah.
and you were mentioning about when you did the marathon and you didn't know about the salts and stuff like that. Like, do you think there could be something like that, like something as simple as magnesium spray or on your muscles before, like after for recovery?
I've never heard of magnesium spray. I mean, as I said, as
Like
you know,
magnesium bath salts and stuff, having a
Oh,
bath
yeah.
in that.
Yeah,
That
look-
definitely, when I was doing strength training, was helping. If I was to have a magnesium bath,
I love a good bath.
magnesium salt.
I'm probably gonna get smashed in the comments about that.
Yeah, well,
I love a bath.
try a magnesium salt bath.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to do that. Going to
Yeah,
get back onto it.
If you're a bath
Get
guy,
back into
definitely
it.
try
Yeah.
that. But
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
and
think
things.
it's all encompassing.
Yeah, things like maybe some kind of vitamin mineral supplements as well, because we don't always get everything we need out of our food, and sometimes we don't eat so well.
It's a it's a constant bout. Yeah. I mean, who does
Moving
eat
on.
well all the time? You
That's
know?
right. It's very hard.
It's a constant battle to keep that equilibrium.
Some are worse
Yeah.
than others, though. Let's be honest.
And that's where some kind of supplements, if you are getting a bit of soreness through training, can be good, because, of course, they supplement
Yep.
what you're not getting from your food. And that can help your recovery. And, of course, your ability of your body to recover is equally as important as the actual training.
So we're talking about supplements. Obviously, I take protein powder. Now, there's been a lot of hoo-ha about supplements like vitamins and minerals and that, as to whether they actually work or not. But what's your knowledge base on that?
Well, to be honest, look, I ain't no protein popping supplement, big supplement kind of taker myself, because I have a business kind of look at that kind of scenario, and just about every protein powder is saying we are the best protein powder.
Protein powder is protein powder, isn't it?
Well, you can't be the
And
best.
protein's
because
written on everything now. Like
how can you-
a Mars bar's got protein written on it these days. Like,
I know it's a
Yeah.
buzzword, isn't it?
yeah.
I mean, you've got to understand, especially if you're lifting weights, you've got to understand the value of protein as part of your diet.
Yes.
Yeah, what is it? It's
And for the
a
fuel
gram
of it.
per or 2 grams.
Yeah.
Is it 2 grams per kilo
Kilo
of
of
weight.
person, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, that's important.
And then because it is a good fuel, and it helps you burn, so it is important. But I think it is a bit of a buzzword, and I don't know. I don't take supplements or anything.
Yeah, but it certainly protein helps you rebuild after a workout, because when you kind of literally break down a muscle from a hard workout, for that muscle to rebuild and regrow from a strength point of view, etc., as quickly as kind of possible, that's where supplements can help that. So you can train optimally, in the next day or two, then that's advantageous to your training and what you succeed. If you want to, get your bench press from 40 kilograms up to 50, up to 60, up to 80, up to whatever, that's when those supplement kind of things, I think, are more effective to accelerate your goals, accelerate what you achieve. But just for the average person who's going to the gym, then I think it can always benefit your body, and your body can therefore hopefully not get as sore, but also train a bit better the next time or the next time, and then achieve more.
So for our listeners and our viewers, every time you work out a muscle, technically the fibres in that muscle are tearing
They're
apart.
tearing apart and then rebuilding.
And what?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's how muscle works, and that's how muscle grows, and it needs protein to help
Like the building
grow and mend. So when you're a bit stiff in the morning after a workout, that's exactly the reason why. Is that correct?
Yes, because you've literally broken that muscle under a microscope point of view.
Yes.
In your previous workouts. So you've taken that muscle, as I say to people sometimes, because you can be doing an exercise and, this is easy, 8, 9, 10, it's starting to get uncomfortable, I better stop now. No, this is when the muscle is out of its comfort zone.
Yep.
And you've got to push through and get that extra reps and push through until, oh my God, I can't do anymore,
So till failure is what we're talking
100%.
about.
When you're building. Yeah.
Yep.
Building, but even just wanting to get stronger.
Yeah.
Like I've told this story 100 times to different people. I had a lady called Mary who first joined Kennedy's, and she'd have 2 sessions a week. She was 71 years old when she first started, and she started with me, and we were doing 1 but 2 kilogram dumbbells on an incline, pressing up and down, like so. 1 or 2 kilograms. She had arms like this.
And he's holding up his pinky finger for those listening.
Yes. Anyway, so that's at 71 when Mary first joined the gym, hadn't been to a gym for about 20 or 30 years. When she was 75, she was pushing, with my help, 7 kilogram dumbbells.
Wow. So that's a kilo a year.
Yeah, even a bit more. But so let's say 2 kilograms when she was 71. And then I got her up to 7 kilograms. She could do 6 by herself.
Yep.
But 7 kilograms with me, that's 7 kilograms per hand on an incline chest press. So that's how much her body got stronger. But she has to, even 71, 73-year-old Mary has to push through and, oh my God, I can't do any more. Because if you go 5, 6, okay, that's all right, that's enough.
I like it out of the voice, James.
You ain't getting stronger like that. You ain't getting stronger.
No.
Simple. So you got to push.
Yes, indeed. 75. Hey, that's great.
We've got at Kennedy's, I think we've got about 20 people in their 70s.
Yeah.
And we've got...
And consistent. They consistently come and do their...
Yeah, and we had about 3 had about at least 3 in their 80s. Just gym members.
Yep.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about men's and women's health a little bit down the track, but as I said, for the environment that you've created, Kennedy's Health and Fitness is just an amazing space for anything and everything health and fitness, isn't it?
I think it is. I've tried hard to achieve all those things. Yes, in the variety of equipment that we have, from the pure weight training point of view to the functional point of view to our good old hydraulic point of view, and the cardio and the boxing, and then the literal in this building space that we have. Like, there's not many gyms anywhere, not many, that would have a 30-metre sled track.
Yes, that's impressive. We've got a photo of that, actually. Ash, if you want to bring that up. There you go. Look at that. It's right there.
Yes, and when that far roller door comes up, there's another 9 metres that the sled, or anyone just going for a little bit of a jog run, can go another 9 metres. So 39 at 39 is 78 metres up and back in one run, and then stupid things over there like that ramp. Don't know whose idea that was. To run up a ramp in a gym. Who's ever done that
He
before?
can't be trusted to look on the internet. He's coming up with ideas left, right, and centre.
So for those
there's more
people
coming.
that, for those
Just
people that
waiting.
are just listening to us, we've got a picture up there of the gym and the sled track right through the middle of it, 30 metres as you can imagine, and then we've got what would be normally a set of stairs, but it's just a ramp, and it's probably, how many degrees is that? 60 degrees?
27.
27. And that's straight up, and that goes up to the cardio area up the top. It's a beautiful space. Now, can you explain to us how you dealt with COVID? I know we don't like talking about it, but I think it's an integral part of your journey, is it not?
Yeah, well, COVID plus other things that COVID caused then other things that caused then other things, kept Kennedy's on mothballs with all the equipment in the whole business in storage in a factory in Dandenong for 20 months. So we were going to be closed for about 6 months because we're waiting to go into another factory,
Another premise? Yep.
another premises that, of course, unfortunately wasn't ready and it was delayed. But then other things happened through COVID that affected other people, that then affected me, Kennedy's. So what was going to be 6 months in storage because of COVID and waiting for the second building ended up being 20 months. So that was a lot longer than expected. But to be honest, thank you to the Victorian and the federal government for handouts. Otherwise, Kennedy's wouldn't be here.
Yeah. Yes. I think you've got a lot to be grateful for from a government. They locked us
Huge.
down for 3 months, but then they paid you to keep things ticking along. Now, you were doing PT
Yep.
sessions outside. I remember doing a couple
Yes.
in the cold Melbourne winters, which were absolutely shithouse. But
Yes, I had.
you got to do what you got to do to survive, don't you?
Exactly, yeah. So I had some equipment in the back of the Holden station wagon, and then would go to the local. Started at netball courts at Chelsea, and then we ended up moving to the football ground at Chelsea, and then after X amount of months, actually, the president saw me there. Of the footy club saw me there on the football oval with the same kind of people every Monday, every Thursday, every Wednesday, every whatever. And when the footy started to come back on, that they were actually allowed to train, he saw me there, and he saw me there, and he saw me there on the nights that they were training. And he said, "Oh, hey, it's coming up to winter. We've got this room out the back. Would you like to hire it?" And I said, "Well, to get out of the winter, yeah, that'd be great, especially at 6 o'clock in the morning or whenever it rains." So I was in there and I hired that room for however long that was. I don't know.
Wow, it was a long while.
It was, quite a while. And because then I did have that room, I went and got some more equipment that was in storage, like a bike and a rowing machine and my hydraulic leg extension. And so I'd have some bigger stuff to try and provide more variety again to the people that I was training. So we just kept soldiering on through that, and I might have been doing 15 PT sessions a week or something, maybe 20. Then started some group classes as well.
Yep.
Just kept plugging away and was lucky to be supported by the people who were coming along and training with me, and then eventually found the building that we're in now, and it was just
goodness.
big empty square box.
It wasn't empty. It was full of shit.
Well, that's true.
Broken cars.
Yeah, it was
an
a-
It was all
abomination.
panel.
Yes,
Oh,
it was
my
our
goodness.
smash repairs
Yep.
business, and so we eventually did a lot of work and built a mezzanine floor and all that kind of stuff, and turned an empty square box, concrete box, into what it is today.
We've got some more photos, Ash, up there that we show our viewers.
So he doesn't give himself enough props. So this
Oh,
guy leans into adversity and takes everything on the chin. He's always chin up, let's go. Doesn't matter what happens. Even now, if something's happening and I say to him, oh God, he's very much an optimist and just lean into it and let's get it done. And that gym was built, the first time he took me there, I thought, you are crackers.
Yeah.
If you think things happening
Well,
here,
you-
mate.
It wasn't a gym at that point, was
Could
it?
you see the finished item in your head? Could you see
Yeah.
what it was going to look like?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. That's the difference between some people is that they can't
Yeah,
see.
I don't have it.
You know, it's like me with the studios here. Everything was in my head. There was no plans, written down. It was just I knew what I wanted to achieve and I knew what it was going to look like, and that's the finished product. And that's what you've done here with the gym. It's as I said, it's just a beautiful space for those people that are just listening. So we've got a really large mezzanine floor upstairs, which has got your cardio and your boxing section. There you go. There's the boxing section right there, and then downstairs you've got the weight area. And then next to the sled area with all the other, there we go. Look at that. So the space is just, as I said, it's large. You've got every piece of equipment that you could ever want.
Oh, he'll want more, don't you?
Oh,
It's constantly
Well,
growing,
yeah.
but it's very functional.
yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. You've got everything and everything, and the good thing about it is that you will buy more equipment. You don't rest on your laurels and say, well, that's enough. That's all my clients are going to get. You go, well, if there's a piece of equipment that is going to add value to my clients, you get it, you buy it, which is what you should do in the industry and in the business that you're in.
So you've done that a lot since we've actually opened and added lots more different things. But now, to be honest, we're running out of floor space. But there's an alternative to that, Brendan.
He's an ideas man.
What are we doing? You're doing mobile. He's going to get a van and put.
Well, see, here's all the equipment on the ground.
Yeah. Oh, you doing another mezzo? You're going to do no?
Wait, just wait.
Up here, along the wall.
Oh, I don't get it. So you're going to put
So there'll be, I won't say much
no?
because it's not 100% confirmed yet.
Okay. And the council don't need to know about it.
Shh. But let's say aerial running track.
Oh, I like what you're talking. Yes.
Yeah.
How wide are we talking? We're talking like a metre and a bit, something like that.
Similar to the ramp.
Oh, beautiful. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Are you going to have like a net so people don't fall off?
No, just rails.
That's amazing. That's a good use of space.
Yeah, because 12, 15 feet up
Yeah.
and the rest, it's a 10 metre high ceiling.
Well, it's going to be the same height as the mezzo with the
Yeah.
cardio on, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, that makes
So
perfect
from
sense.
the boxing area
Yep.
up the end where Muhammad Ali is on the wall.
Yep.
The idea is that there'll be a crossover to the other wall,
Yep. And then back.
20 metres along that wall.
Yep.
Pardon me, my arms.
Oh, you're right.
20 metres down that way,
Yeah.
a set of stairs, and then you could go, for example, up the ramp, but then take a new left,
Yep.
go to that other wall again.
Yep.
So you've got
Like another bridge.
another crossover, another bridge, plus the.
That's going to be an industry first, isn't it?
I
think so.
don't know. I'm sure there's probably something like it maybe in Australia somewhere, but I haven't ever seen one.
I doubt it.
Of course, I haven't seen every gym in Australia at all, but they do it a lot in America.
Yep.
But usually, especially in universities, like huge, big universities, where there's millions of dollars to spend on crazy stuff. So I haven't got millions of dollars to spend at all.
I'm sure
but-
you'll make it. I'm sure you'll make it work. And as I say, if
But
it
I
doesn't happen,
want to make it work.
Yeah.
I would love to be able to make it work because, again, what I like to provide with Kennedy's is stuff where people walk in and go, that's not normal. I haven't seen that before. That's pretty cool.
Yep.
Who thought of that?
Like
Point
the
of
booty
difference.
stairs. We've got booty stairs.
Yeah.
That double the depth.
Yes.
So it's for function of you getting leg strength.
Yeah.
And just that when people walk in and they look at the double staircase and they think, what's that? And you say, well, it's for your butt.
Yep. It's specifically
Yeah,
for
and
your
that ramp,
gluteus
you don't have to
maximus.
sprint up that ramp. You can hike up that ramp
And walk up it.
and do it several
Use the
times.
rails.
Like it's
Yeah. As I said, that's the
unique.
beauty about what you do. You know, you do it really well. Do it really well. This podcast is brought to you by Holy Shirt Australia. Holy Shirt Australia are 100% online. They're Australia's largest no minimum custom print and embroidery company. All their services are completed in-house and they can deliver all orders promptly and professionally. They like to keep it simple and straightforward, so they offer cool stuff that can be custom printed or embroidered to your liking. They have an easy-to-use online designer to build your custom apparel from the comfort of your home or office. They offer pricing that reflects your individual order, and remember, they are no minimum on all their products. They deliver what the customer expects when they expect it. They've got over 1,500 products ready for you to custom print or embroider today, right now. So head to holyshirt.com.au for all your custom clothing requirements. We're back. We were talking about hips during the break, Danny. Now, we've got a picture up there of, for those people just listening, of Danny in the 90s in an aerobic pose with one leg over his head. Standing on one leg, the other leg's straight up. Is that the reason why you've got an artificial hip?
I reckon it's a pretty good chance. I've never been a runner as such. And again, never been a runner primarily in the day because I was doing all that kind of stuff. And around about, again, I reckon I average 7 to 10 hours a week of that high intensity, kind of high impact stuff. So quite weak, 5 hours, but 5 to 7 to 10 hours a week for 19 years.
Wow. That's a lot of hip movement.
That's a lot of grapevine. A lot of grapevines.
I was
mate.
going to say in aerobics, there's a lot of that up, knees up.
Doesn't matter.
hips
You
up.
won't know. People who know what a grapevine is out there will know what a grapevine. However,
You can fill me in later on.
yeah, it's just a very low impact move actually. That certainly wouldn't have affected. But jumping and on a hardish floor, impact.
And it was purely wear and tear, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
bone on bone
Yep.
in my left hip, and there was a lot of pain going on. And
Really
this,
struggling to move by the end. Really struggling to move.
well, I was getting pretty stiff, towards the end of the 19 years in that hip and just moving. But once you get up and get going, get all greased and oiled again, and
Yeah.
everything moves okay. But it was probably there for about 15 years after I taught my last class that bone on bone factor really just wore out and had been obviously probably 90% worn out by that. And then it just, was to a point where we've got to get rid of this. We've got to fix it.
Something's got to be done.
Something's got to be
Now, so I had my hip replacement prior to you. Was that correct? Remember?
Yes, you
Mine
did.
was.
Yes.
I was arthritic. So, although I played a lot of football, soccer when I was a kid, that probably could have attributed it. But we do blame my mother for it because she's got bad hips. But I remember the recovery, and I remember specifically you helping me through that recovery, which is another, as I said, another string in your bow for what you do, helping invalids like me to get movement back. How was your recovery? How did you find your recovery?
Well, see, my situation was in September of 2019. So there was the surgery then. So I was back to work within 10 days. So then was working the end of September, October, November, and then December, January, February, March, COVID lockdown, finished.
Yep.
Work and all that kind of stuff. And then no gyms to be open. And yes, you can exercise at home without equipment. But the whole COVID scenario and closing the business, to be honest, I probably didn't look after myself as much as I should have.
You should know better, mate.
Yeah, and I know better. I know. I know, but then I sometimes don't do because I'm doing other things and not doing things for myself.
So it's do as I say, not do as I do, or is it do it anyway?
It's something.
It's like
it
a
is.
plumber not fixing a leaky tap. When you're
In
doing
his
it
own
all
home.
day, you can't be bothered to.
No.
Yeah, you can't be bothered to do it. You've been in a gym all day. I'm not doing a workout now.
Come on, Danny. As I said, I remember my recovery, and it was quite weird because when they did the surgery, my surgery was a little bit different to yours. So I had the whole hip replaced with a socket and everything, and they go in through your ass tract, through your gluteus maximus, and they went through the groin with you. Is that correct? It was
They
different.
went through the very, very front of the hip, the front of the
Yep.
hip flexor,
Yep.
and it was just a scar about that long. And they go in and they literally get the hip flexor and pull the muscles apart and then go in there and do what they got to do.
Yep.
So in my style of surgery, there was no cutting of muscles and no cutting of any nerves at all.
Yeah.
So hence the recovery was a lot better, quicker.
What I found was because the way they did mine, when I was training after it had healed, it felt like those muscle fibers weren't connecting. So there would be, like you know in your mind, like you can feel or know that a muscle does a certain thing, and you can visualize it through your head, and it's like you understand the mechanics of it. It's like those connections were broken. So I'm thinking what I need to do, and my muscles going, nah, that's not how it works. It just felt like they weren't. It wasn't talking to itself, and it would get to a point where it would just fail. It wouldn't fail because there was any damage. It was more mental than anything else. So that connection between your brain and your muscles, which goes on constantly, like I'm doing now, talking and moving my arms, it's all through the
pathways
central
of
nervous
the-
system.
yeah.
So it was quite amazing, just that dynamic and that frustration. It's like, come on, fucking I've gone through this and it should be all fixed, but no,
Yeah.
it took another good 10 months for it to get back up to where it was.
Yeah.
And everything that you did with me, you understood fully what was required, and I thank you for that. It was amazing.
That's good. My
Danny
pleasure.
sent me a photo the day after he had his hip, carrying his walker in the air.
Oh,
walking
yeah,
up the hospital.
yeah, that'd be
the
about
next
right.
day, was it? Don't tell me it was the same day.
It would have been
It could have been the same afternoon.
because
I
they get
feel
you
like it
they
was the
get you
next
out
day.
of they get you out of bed as soon as you wake up. They
So he
want you
carried his
to
walker
move.
to the bathroom instead of
Yeah.
using his walker.
Yeah, my surgery was at 4:00, and at 9:00 I kind of said to them, "I'd like to go to the toilet, please." And she said, "Oh, you sure you want to get out of bed? Because I had all bandages and a big ice pack thing on my hip and all that kind of stuff, And she said, "I can give you just a little thing, do it in your bed, what do they call it?
Like
Bedpan.
a
Bedpan thing." Yeah.
Yeah.
I said, no, that's okay. I'll sit up and I'll go to the toilet. The toilet was kind of over there. And so I sat up on the side of the bed. And then she goes, "Oh, be careful." Kind of. So she put a little walker thing in front of me. And I kind of stood up, felt everything was okay, grabbed the walker. There you go, you can have this.
You're as
Thank
fucking
you.
stubborn as I
He's
am.
holding
aren't
it
you?
above his head.
And
in
I
the
walked,
photo, I think.
walked to the toilet and walked back. That was at 9 p.m. with the surgery was at 4 p.m. with the full hip replacement. So
No exaggeration.
Just a disclaimer
walking the
to
next
our viewers: that's not what we suggest you do. We
do not-
suggest you
we
listen
do
to
not.
your healthcare workers.
day. Yes, that's right.
Because they know better.
Yes.
They know better.
But again, that was very much though a difference in the style of surgery.
Yes.
Which is
Yep.
mine style of surgery was quite different and quite a bit newer, and therefore recovery after a lot different.
Mm.
So
Yeah, two different procedures
yeah,
to get the same
Yeah.
result.
yeah.
Hey, we're talking about men's and women's health. Actually, before we go down that road, Kelly, I want to know where you slotted into this equation with Danny. Tell us about your journey.
Well, I never was sporty, but I did love aerobicizing and had the best bloke. So I just went to his classes. And then back at that same time, high schools were doing aerobics as a competition sport as well.
Yep.
But I just never played sport. I just didn't grow up playing sport.
Who's that?
That's me.
Ashley's just put a
So-
photo up for our listeners. You're kicking somebody in the head.
Kicking somebody in the head. So my journey was that I was never sporty,
Okay.
except for aerobics. I never did gym as such. I never lifted weights or anything.
But you didn't play sports
Never
at
played
schools?
sport. I didn't play any formal sport.
No? No
I didn't-
netball?
I wasn't mad, no. And I'm actually quite unco.
Okay.
So I look sporty and I look like I could do such things, but I just can't.
Well, there's another photo. That's you getting your head punched
My
in.
face is getting punched in. My face is flat as it's going to get. That was a professional kickboxing fight in Melbourne
So that's what we're trying to get to, is
in
that...
front of thousands of people. So that started because I wasn't sporty.
Yeah.
But I did like a drink. Very.
And that led
as
you
I
to-
said to
to
you
the
earlier,
boxing
piss
ring.
fit. I was piss fit, and I was at a local cricket club. I was at a trivia night, and I won a skull comp against a whole bunch of men
We're talking about sculling drinks.
sculling beers.
Okay.
I won a
So I'm
skull
just wondering how
competition.
where this conversation's leading.
Yeah. So a skull competition was started. This beer drinking club, everyone versed me. And once a week, I'd have to skull against somebody, and I became the reigning champion after a year. But those guys were kickboxers and said, you're a bit of a bloke, you might like this as a sport. And I thought, you know what, have a go. My kids were 2 and 3, and I thought I'll
Oh,
do
so you were a
something
mum
for
by that
myself.
stage?
I was a mum.
You were sculling beers
Sculling beers.
on a weekly
In my car.
basis
Yeah,
while
on a
looking
Saturday
after 2
arvo
kids.
with my 2 little boys. And I know it's a great lead in. Sorry, everyone. And I went one time.
Well, it goes to character, though, doesn't it?
It's not a surprise if you know me, but I went one time to this kickboxing gym and immediately thought, how did I not know this existed?
You fell in
Loved
love?
it immediately. And I did that professional fight where I'm getting my face punched in. I fought professionally within 9 months.
So we're talking...
Because I'm a bull at a gate. If I do something, I do it
Oh,
all the way, and did. And then,
we're talking Muay Thai.
so I didn't fight Muay Thai. I fought kickboxing.
Is
so
it-
there was no
so what's the difference
elbows.
between the two?
It's the weapons.
Oh, is it?
So boxing is only hands.
Yes.
Kickboxing, legs and hands. Muay Thai is all 8 weapons. So elbows, knees.
Oh, so the
So I didn't
elbow's
do
a
that,
weapon.
yeah.
That's what it's classed
Yeah,
as.
elbows
Okay.
and your knees are weapons. So I just did kickboxing for that. I trained Muay Thai, but I only fought kickboxing. And then once I was fit, I thought, there's something to this. And my life changed by being fit. Being a mum, I was a better mum for it, healthier in all ways. And then I thought, I can be a PT and I can work around my kids' lives. And
And if anybody fucks with you, you can kick their
well,
ass.
and I have tenacity. I'm tenacious regardless
Yeah.
of anything.
Yep.
I'm just a bit obnoxious, very tenacious.
Nothing wrong with that.
And fighting, I wasn't the best fighter. I can hit pads pretty. It's nice to what I can do. It looks fancy.
Yep.
Fighting, I'm not a smart fighter, but I was tough, and I'd walk through punches. I'd walk through your punches so I could punch you in the face. So I think that was my success in
I
fighting.
hope
but
that never fucking happens, to be quite honest. Hey, look, can you tell how long was your fighting career?
so I only trained maybe 3 years,
Okay.
but
And you had a couple of fights?
because I did a lot of little fight days, but I just had that one really big fight in front of thousands of people.
That's the picture that we were looking
That
at.
was the picture you're looking at.
Did you win that fight?
I did not win that fight. Got a really great kicking head. She was a southpaw, and I didn't know about southpaws at this point because it was a fast
Yeah.
track from beer sculling to fighting professionally. Was a fast track.
Talk about the fast and the furious, eh?
Yeah. So, but the fitness part, then I really loved it, and then because I'd seen Danny my whole life in and out, and I worked in real estate in Patterson Lake, so I saw all his gyms. I'd go to his gyms intermittently. And then I went to the one behind the car wash, and he was advertising for someone. And I said, do you know I'm a PT? And he just...
So you trained
a
formally as a PT? Yeah?
Yeah. So I was qualified. I just didn't really do it. I work as a teacher's aide at primary school. And he just took a gamble, and now here I am. And he just puts up with
You
me.
couldn't live without her.
We're
10
yin
more
and
years later,
yang,
can't get rid of her.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's how it works, eh?
pretty much. But we're yin and yang. I think the balance of
Well, it's like
we
a
are.
husband and wife. If you're both the same,
Yeah.
chances are you're probably
Yeah.
not going to get on. You know, you got to have that balance, as you say, the yin and the yang.
Yeah.
And I mean, all the social media, you take care of that. That's something that
Yeah.
Danny doesn't
Oh
want to do.
my goodness.
Do you?
Danny's not competent at it.
Well, I'm
That's
sure
why.
Danny could get competent, but he's got other things to focus on. You know,
Correct.
you've got to micromanage, don't you?
Between the
Correct.
two of us, all the jobs get done.
Yeah.
And there's a good bit
Yeah.
of communication and social media. I mean, I learnt that on the fly.
Well,
But again, 100%. If I'm
you're
going
doing
to do it, I just do
You're
it.
doing a good job. FYI, you got me on your socials the other day walking up the stairs. Next time you do that, can you tell me so I can flex my calves? Did you see that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Flex your car.
Flex
don't
my
follow
calves.
you.
I could have
thought they
gone
looked
up.
great.
I could have gone up on my toes, and they would look
Could
so
have.
much better.
Have.
Yeah. Anyway,
So, but we try to be real on our social media too, so everyone sees
yes,
it's not a pretentious
the
gym.
real deal.
And there's,
We
yeah.
talked about that. All right, strike that from the ledger. That's fine video. I'm happy with that.
There you go.
Yeah.
The
No,
real
no
deal.
permission required.
The real deal. So yeah, that's my journey. Zero exercise, beer sculling,
Well, as you,
fighting.
well, I wouldn't say zero exercise because, as you said, you from a young
Yeah.
age you
I
were
was doing
going
aerobics,
and doing
yeah.
aerobics. It's not
Yeah.
like you've got
Yeah,
to
I wasn't idle.
30
No,
and
yeah.
and we're 50 pounds overweight and gone. I need to do something. You know.
Yeah, but I think that really opened my eyes to the value of fitness and my health.
Yeah.
I had a few health issues too, and I think most of them seem to get fixed or helped, assisted in any way by movement and fitness.
And kicking the shit out of people.
That's a bonus.
That's a byproduct. If we're talking about men's health and women's health, what's important to you as a female, and what do you see in your clients?
Strength and confidence, more than anything.
So you're trying to teach them confidence so that they
I
can
think
have
it's
the
innate
skills.
once you get a bit of strength. Once you get a bit of strength, physical strength, and
Fitness.
I think that you stand taller and you naturally become more confident. And even though it's not meant to be the way, aesthetics, the better you look, the better you feel. The more comfortable you are in your skin, the better you feel.
Yep.
I think it compounds. Everything about health and fitness compounds. But for women, maybe my generation more so, our generation, that weak thing is getting less and less. The younger girls now know you want to get strength. They're all doing strength training and changes their confidence in different ways. I think it's empowering. It's empowerment maybe for women's.
Well, we were looking at specifically women and women's health. We were looking at some stats. So every day, 109 Australian women have an acute coronary event, such as a heart attack or stroke, an estimated 40,000 events per year. So women are more likely to have a heart attack than their male counterparts.
I think that's growing too.
Do you think the average female, do you think that's prevalent or at the top of their mind?
No.
Could you think about if a lady is on birth control, she's got a higher risk of stroke. We know that.
You're told it, but you disregard it. I don't think that we think of heart health as being a men's problem.
Yeah, and that's what I'm trying to get to the point is that I don't think the average female realises that their stats are higher than what the males with regards to heart attack and coronary heart disease.
I don't know if this is true. We might need to check, but I think that our heart attacks, is there less death? Like we have heart attacks, but
It's funny because
death.
the symptoms of a heart attack in a female are completely different to a male, and some of them can be flu-like symptoms that can lead to a heart attack. So if you can find some research, Ash, there is a good article there about the one that you've got in there. So this is going back to specifically about heart health. So 54,000 Australians suffer from heart attack every year. There's 17.5 million people die from cardiovascular disease around the world every year. So apparently it's the biggest killer next to cancer. Cardiovascular disease costs Australia around $7.6 billion in healthcare spending every year. 1 Australian dies from cardiovascular disease every 12 minutes. 24 women die of heart attack or heart disease every day in Australia. And every 4 hours, a baby is born with a heart defect. That's some pretty hard-hitting stats, isn't it?
So I find that surprising and probably shouldn't. So my nephew was born with a heart defect. So that's very close to
Yep,
me, just
yep.
personally. So when I was 19, one of my friends who's a male had a heart attack at 19, flu-like symptoms. He was surfing, thought he was sick.
Yep.
It was a heart attack. And a girlfriend of mine in the last couple of years, younger than me, flu-like symptoms, had a heart attack. And that's just me personally. I just already know one of the women, a young man, a baby born with a heart defect, and I still
Okay, well,
found that surprising.
Well, let's talk about you. At your age,
Yep.
what do you do about your health? Do you get checked
Me
on a regular
personally?
basis? Yeah. What do you
not,
do?
but I do. I am a consciously healthy liver, though, so I don't work out enough, and that both for my mental health and physically, I don't work out enough. That plumber's thing where I said I'm in the gym all day, and then I think I just want to go
I'm
home.
specifically talking about your body. When
But
was the last time you went to the doctor?
I don't.
You don't go to the doctor?
Well, I'm about to turn 50, and I was thinking at 50 I'm going to get
A Warren of Fitness, get
Yeah.
everything done.
I'm going to get it.
What about you, Danny? When was the last time
Health.
you went to the doctor?
Last time I had a hip replacement.
You don't get your bloods checked on a regular basis?
Haven't? No, actually, I kind of lie. Probably before my hip replacement, about 3 months before that, I did have to have a hernia operation because I had a little hernia that popped up, and eventually went and got that fixed up. But I think before I went and saw the doctor because of that hernia operation, I don't think I'd seen a GP for 20 or 25 years.
Jesus Christ.
Do you get checkups?
I go get my bloods done every 3 to 6 months
Because
I want to know what's going on. Do you know what your cholesterol is?
No.
No,
no.
I do. And
So
I know how it's tracking. So if I go every 6 months, all right, and I don't party hard, but you know how hard I work in the gym. I do the same. I work hard, play hard.
Yeah. You're going to live until you die.
Exactly. So if my cholesterol is getting up, a marker for heart disease is high cholesterol. It's all cause and effect. So I want to know that it's tracking right. And if I need to adjust what I'm doing, I will do that based on the results that I get. Now, I found that I had it's a lymph node or something that's not working properly. And then once that stops, I'll have to go on medication for it. I wouldn't have known that. And that in itself, if I didn't know that was happening, I would be more lethargic. I'll be wondering why I didn't have the energy. And it's because my body's saying, well, something is wrong. It's the same with markers for cancer and prostate cancer. That's for people our age. You need to know what's going on in your body, and I'm an advocate for that. And I'm acutely aware of everything that goes on in my body, just because of my thought patterns. And as I said, I've had surgeries. So I want to know what's going on. I don't want to fucking wake up one day and have a surprise, And people, as I said, like yourself, that my suggestion to you would be next week, go find a GP and go get your bloods done.
I literally could show you in my phone that a couple of days ago, my wife and I, Alison, was speaking about, because my dad did have prostate cancer, eventually got him about 8 or 10 years later. And at now my age of 58.
Tell you what, you look good for 58.
I know. He's a ripper for 58.
Thank you. So I've got literally a note in my diary to call a GP, my GP I've dealt with for the last couple of years, since my 2 surgeries, to go and get a PSA test, a prostate kind of,
So that comes
test.
in a standard blood test. So you get that done on a regular basis. You don't have to have the finger up to date anymore. I've never had it, and apparently I'm missing out on something. But the PCI test,
PCAI,
it it comes up in your bloods. So since turning 50, and it's probably because I've got a fear of death, but since I turned 50, I've had a colonoscopy, I've had an echocardiogram. What else have I had, Ash? I've done, as I said, I get my bloods done on a regular basis. So it's
But
set up.
since when? When did you decide that? So I always think of 50 is that number where I was thinking when I get to 50, I'm going to start doing all these things.
Well,
I've had a few surgeries and health problems, like I said.
Yeah.
So I have regular colonoscopies and stuff for health reasons.
Yep.
But yeah, I just thought 50 is a magic number. Everything's going to start falling apart more readily.
Well, I'd suggest to our listeners, don't wait until you're 50 because it could be too late. It's odd. The other thing I get my skin checked on a regular basis. Now I'm not in a high risk group, but we live in Australia. The risk of getting skin cancers are high. I've already had one cut out of my arm, and it's funny because it's the arm that you hang out of the door in the car. So as I said, it's stuff like that. I don't want and skin cancers can sit on you for about 10 years before they actually go through the skin layers to your bloods.
Whatever.
But once they get into your blood system, you're pretty well fucked. So as I said, I mean, call me a hypochondriac, but as I said, I don't want a surprise one day. I want to know exactly what's going on in my body, and it's as simple as a blood test. You know, every 3 to 6 months. Every 6 months. That's what I suggest to our listeners and our viewers. So if you haven't done it, go ring your GP and make an appointment on Monday. You know, so as I said, men and women's health. You shouldn't wait until you're at an age before you do something
and
about
I think
it.
the ignorance is the problem. That stuff you just showed me was a genuine surprise to me, even though I just gave you 3 examples of things that just to me personally I know of.
Yeah.
That have been close to home, and I still found it surprising.
Yeah. You don't know until you know, but this day and age, with the amount of information and resources we have available to ourselves, you know, all you got to do is just Google something, you know. And as you said, those stats, you know, you don't want to be a statistic.
And I don't want to be cliche and I'm definitely no feminist, but I think women's health does slide because we're innately caregivers and we tend to make sure everybody else's health is at the forefront. So whether it's my kids are eating well and by a byproduct of that is that I eat well because I'm preparing food for them. But I think as caregivers, women will miss a gym session to take little Johnny to, you know what I mean? I think women's health slides for that reason.
Well,
very much so because you're caregiving.
Well, you look at those stats for female heart attacks.
Yeah.
That's a prime example of exactly what you're just talking about.
Yeah.
You know, they are caregivers.
Yeah.
And they do a really good job, but not on themselves.
And we've got a lot of tabs open all the time. And again, cliche, but your day starts the second your eyes are open, you're managing a lot of diaries, not just your diary. The family's diary and when is that due and what's that due, and probably more likely to get your husband's blood tests than your own.
Yep. Well, as I said to our listeners and our viewers, just make an appointment. Just do it. Just get into it. What else is important to you health-wise?
To me, just to be able to keep moving.
Yep. Back to that old saying, because you know and you see it. I mean, you're at the coalface.
Yeah, and look, you know, if I could say a couple of things to, again, if I can use the term non-exercisers, people who don't go to a gym, people who have never been to a gym, people who may not walk. It's especially to again from a female point of view and osteoporosis and keeping your bones strong, etc., and just general exercise. If I could say to people, it's amazing how little exercise you can do that will have a massive change to your strength and to your body. Again, from that principle of being a 1 out of 10 fitness or a 1 out of 10 strength person to then get that person up to a 3 or 4 out of 10. That difference is phenomenal. but the amount of workouts that you can only just do, say, 2 a week, to again quote my 71-year-old from previous Mary, she went to the gym twice a week. And about 30 minutes and about 45 minutes. That was it. One was session was with myself and her daughter in a PT scenario, and the other session she came in by herself and trained and did exercises that I had showed her from previous days and over years' time. So 2 days a week for 30 minutes and about 30 to 45 minutes, a 71-year-old and then at a 75-year-old can increase their strength from 2 kilogram dumbbells up to 7 kilogram dumbbells per hand. Now, for a lot of fit, strength training, gym going people, that might go, 7 kilograms, mate, I bench press 50 kilograms. Well, make it relevant to the person, Jack. That's what I say. And again, for that person to go from the 2 to 7, you get a 7 kilogram 7 kilogram dumbbell and drop it on your foot.
Yep.
And see what you think about how much a 7 kilogram doesn't weigh. You'll certainly know how much it weighs when you drop it on your foot. So my message to people who don't exercise or don't go to gym is that a couple of days a week even, for 30, 45 minutes, can change someone's life a lot.
Well, you even break that down further and you go 5 minutes a day for 4 or 5 days a week. And then you go and then you build on that. So the Mary's 2 sessions, a total of 70 minutes. You can start as simply as doing 5 minutes of stretching at home, 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes at night, and then
go for a walk outside and come back.
So you got to start. You got to crawl before you can walk.
And I think they keep it simple, stupid. That KISS concept.
Yes.
Just don't overthink it. Same with, because of social media, the whole diet thing, the protein thing, all these exercise things that we're all doing. Keep it simple. Do a few. Use those big muscle groups and go for walks and just get moving. You know even if you're not trained nutritionally, we all know what's good food. Not good food, but whole food.
Yep.
You know how to make a choice. Calories in versus calories out. That is a simple way of putting it, but that's it.
But
Eat less calories than you
that is it, though.
are burning. If you want to lose a little bit of weight, you need resistance training for your bone strength. You need cardiovascular fitness. Just something is better than nothing. You're ahead of everybody that's sitting on the couch the second you start moving.
But the crutch of it was, as you say, calories in versus calories out. So we're talking about the amount of calories you put in your gob, and then the amount of calories you burn by exercising.
Or just by moving. Most of our calories burnt are moving.
Yeah, so start with the basics.
Before you
walking.
get to the gym. Yeah.
Everybody can walk.
Yep. And those step counters are sort of a little bit of garbage, but if that's what makes you think to park further away than at the door, if that you need that little stepper watch to tell you to do 10,000 steps, use that. Do what you've got to do to move.
I had a thing that I thought of many years ago that I never went through with because it's blatantly rude, but it would be a slap in the face potential reality check for some people. And this is making the assumption that a lot of people who maybe, don't exercise at all, and they're not interested in it, and that's fine, or because, if I can use the lazy word as well, or whatever, but they don't exercise because it's too hard. And I understand that because, again, it's the same principle as thinking, I've got to be fit before I go to the gym or whatever, but no, you don't. But it's the contradiction of thinking that going to the gym is too hard and that I can't do it, because going to the gym will make your life easier. By not going to the gym and being 20, 10 even, but 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 kilograms overweight and unfit, your ability to move is very difficult. So if I can say the contradiction of I don't want to go to the gym because it's too hard, well, all your bloody life is actually physically difficult to get out of the chair, difficult to walk upstairs at Southland, except there's travelators these days, etc. And I'm puffed. I've got to have a wait. I'm going to have a rest.
Like choose your hard. You got to choose your hard. Is your life going to be
Yeah.
hard, or is going to the gym
So-
going to be hard?
All the things you do in life could be easier if you did a little bit of exercise, and then the rest of your life would be easier.
Okay,
it's
so
kind of
when
the
you
contradiction of I don't want to go to the gym because it's too hard, but the rest of your life is really hard.
we're talking about
I'm talking overweight.
overweight.
Big
So there's overweight and there's obese. So what goes through your head when you see somebody like that?
I think it's sad, but it's all choices, you know.
Of course it is.
But I think a lot of it, though, is very much, and I get it, education. As in, a lot of people don't know or realise that 2 workouts a week or 2, and when I talk about 2 workouts a week, I'm talking you could walk outside your house up to the end of the block and come back, if you can walk that far, and then back in your house. And then,
Hopefully not back to the fridge.
yeah, that's a whole other
Well, it
story.
compounds in both ways. The fitness compounds, but so does the reverse of the state they get in once they're overweight. They just get that fuck it brain. Ugh,
Yeah.
I'm already here now.
Yeah, that's what. So
already here now.
that's what baffles me as a person of my mentality is, how do you get to that point where you just fucking give up? Because it's so obvious that people have given up and accepted, and it's that exception that really grinds me. It's like, so you accept that, okay, you're probably going to die before your kid's 12. This is just a hypothesis. You're not going to be able to run around the footy field with him, her. You're going to leave your children with a hole somewhere because you're not in their life anymore. You're going to put a strain on the healthcare system. It's just, as I said, that just baffles me that somebody can get to that point. I know there's a lot of people that have turned their lives around, and kudos to them. And as you say, probably education, but I don't get that I've given up on fucking life and given up on my body. I don't buy that. It just
It's
makes
just
no
hard
sense
for you
to me.
to get your head around the fact that that can be the case. I think, obviously, again, mental health plays a big role in things like that too. So,
Well, see, the thing is that
without it being an excuse, but that, like I said, it compounds in the reverse.
Yeah.
And I have obese relatives, and they think that my mother and my auntie and I are lucky genetically that we're not obese when they can't even.
do you believe in that genetic bullshit?
No. So I believe that it must play some role of some way, whether it's even a mental health state. But they have told themselves for a very long time that they're big boned or whatever it is. They genuinely believe that we're lucky.
Yeah, so
They don't think
they're
it's
making
a lifestyle
excuses.
choice. They just make excuses.
Yeah.
But I think also that they've planted themselves here, and in order for them to survive, their mindset has become that. And whatever it is, I'm proof that you just have to find an exercise that you love that you'll do. I wasn't sporty because I never found a sport I loved. I went and kicked a kick bag for 5 minutes and thought, where has this been my whole life? Sometimes the key might just be, which is what we try to provide, you got to find your little thing that you
Yeah.
like to get moving. And once you're moving, it snowballs. It also compounds. If you like going to the gym once, you're likely to go again on Thursday. Then you're likely to go again on Monday. Then hopefully the next week you go Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Hopefully the next week you go Monday, Wednesday, Friday and go for a walk on Sunday.
Hey, well, we've got some stats on gym users because I was going to talk to you about the youth. Now, there's a lot of young people in your gym, which is very refreshing. And it's good to see them start their fitness journey. And because I remember when I first got into the gym, and I was overweight, I was in business, and I was just not looking after myself. My business was number one, my body wasn't. And of course, cause and effect. So as I said, it's good to see the youth in there. So we've got up on the screen there, we've got a share of people using gyms, fitness clubs, sports clubs in Australia. This is year 2022 by age. So the 15 to 17 age group is 34%. I reckon that's pretty high. 18 to 24 is close to 50%. 25 to 35 is 45.1. 35 to 44 is 35.3. 45 to 54, that's me, 29.6%. 55 to 64, 25%. That's high. That's good to see. And then 65 plus is still 20%. Would you agree with that, Danny?
I would think they're similar to our stats. So I was about to get up for you. Our program.
Just come closer.
Sorry, our program at the gym tells us the percentage of each age group in our gym. I think it would be similar.
Well,
to
you
that.
find that, and we'll do a comparison to it.
Really
But
similar.
as I said, getting back to those youth, and as I mentioned before about Mav starting his fitness journey in a gym, because you can learn so much on the footy field, but you're going to learn a lot more in the gym and the fundamentals about strength. You guys have even got footy clubs using your facilities on a regular basis. Is that correct?
Yes, we have some junior footy clubs who do come and have specific footy fitness, whether they be male or female, footy fitness exercise classes taken by Kelly, who gets them running up the ramp and pushing a sled and doing strength aerobic but functional, again, exercises that helps them run around the football field as a stronger, faster, more agile person. So building up the fundamentals of body strength and, again, fitness and agility. And core strength is huge because as you're running along and someone tries to bump you on the footy field, if your core here as well is quite strong, it can cop that push a lot better, and then there's lesser chance of you losing your balance and falling over from that hip and shoulder from that bump when your central there is a lot stronger, and again balance and doing all those kind of different things. So
and then from the next stage from that, if they go into lifting, it's about how to lift correctly.
Absolutely,
correct technique,
yes.
because we know, and that obviously that's what you do. You teach technique, which is 110% of anything.
Technique is everything in weightlifting and doing weight training, gym stuff. And look, to be honest, there's a lot of people that go to gyms that could have a bit more of a chat to trainers about their form and technique. And they could achieve a lot more.
Do you see this on a regular basis and just cringe, or do you get up and go over? I mean, I know you get up.
If I see someone doing something really wrong where I think they're going to get hurt, then I'll certainly say, careful, slow that down, do this, do that. Don't do that. This is why, though, your knees shouldn't be out there.
Yeah,
your bum should be back there, etc. In a squat or whatever it may be. But yeah, jeepers, if I just spoke to everyone on the floor that I thought they could do a certain exercise a bit better,
you'd be doing that all day.
All day, yeah. But I'm very specific when it comes to form and technique in weight training. The difference between doing a tricep press like this versus a tricep press like that.
Okay, so we've just illustrated that your elbows are not out; they're now in.
Yeah,
that's
brought them back in
from our listeners' point of view.
Yeah, so technique is everything, and again, a lot of people that come along, they do weights. Oh, I've been going to weights doing gym for 10 years, 20 years. Yep, that's good. No worries. I know what I'm doing. Cool. And then days, weeks go by. I see what they do because I see what everyone does in the gym. And I go, you could do that a little bit better and you could achieve more and better.
And not risk hurting yourself with bad form, because that's the first thing that's going to happen. Tweak a back, you're lifting too heavy, you don't have the correct technique. That's the first thing that's going to happen, isn't it?
But even...
You don't want to blow a foo-foo valve.
Yes, exactly. But even apart from the big exercises like squats, lunges, and deadlifts kind of stuff, what I call the more safer exercises, either on machines or with just free weights, whatever it may be, could be just done so much better. Like there's a statistic actually, it's on a singlet I've got at home. It's something like 75% of people don't achieve their fitness goals. Of the 25% of people who do achieve, 90% of them are working with a personal trainer.
That makes sense, though.
So 75% of people don't achieve their goals. Of the 25% of people who do achieve their goals,
90% of them are with
90% of these are working with a personal trainer.
Yep.
But you've got
Now-
an eyes locked on you the whole time.
Because you've got someone who does the job all day, every day, 40, 50 hours a week, not 2 or 3 hours a week that you go to the gym, watching you for that whole 30 minutes or 60 minutes when you're doing your weight training session to get that in, get those shoulders down, get whatever it is, and they achieve more. Now, not everyone can afford a personal trainer, of course, on a regular basis. I understand that 100%. But to have one review or just ask a trainer anywhere, any gym in the world, hey, can we make an appointment next week or the week after to go through some form and technique and just have a chat about what I'm doing in my weekly workout? Then yes, like a golf lesson, to learn how to play golf, you pay the golf professional and you pay the personal trainer to review and assess your golf swing, your tricep extension, your whatever it is, and then you achieve more from your weight training.
Well, the alternative to that, which you offer, is the group training. Now, the beauty about that is that you are being taught technique with other people. You don't have the cost of a one-on-one with a PT.
Exactly right.
So,
yes.
as you say, the alternative to making an appointment or having a couple of sessions with a PT, because you don't have to continue that. It's about knowledge.
Correct.
Or you can do a refresher course, as you say, exactly like learning how to play golf. But with you guys, with that group training scenario, it's perfect. It's perfect for those people that need that support, need that education, and they get so much more within that environment. They get the camaraderie, they get the mateship, you know, and then,
variety, because we're
and
changing
variety.
them up. They learn a lot of different techniques over. If you were to do the classes 6 months, we obviously have base exercises that we're always doing. That it might be the assault bike or something to get your cardio up, but there's always a new station in there. You're getting a new skill. You're taught that skill.
Well,
And
that's
you
your
can
job.
take it with you the next time you come back.
Yep.
And I'm not there, and you're not in the class. You can say, "I remember that she said, or that Danny said, that you're pulling back."
Yep. Tuck
know?
those elbows in,
Yeah.
put that butt out.
Yeah, you're not
Straighten that
swinging.
back.
You're doing triceps. You're going to lock
Yeah.
in here and press down. You're not going to be swinging your arms wildly.
Yeah.
I can remember what they said. They take those skills with them, with the added bonus of the variety and the camaraderie and.
And they've always got a smile on your face. Well, not always. Not when they're doing burpees. Did you find those stats
So,
from Kennedy's?
I did find some stats.
Yeah.
They're a different breakdown, but our gender, we pretty much have 50-50 female and male.
I was gonna ask you about that.
Yep.
About the breakdown. That's perfect.
50-50, pretty much on
Wow.
the knocker.
That,
Yep. Which is, I think, you tend to have
you can't
male
say knockers
heavy
when
and
you talk
female.
about them.
Yeah, good point. Our age group, so I don't think they're the same, but
Do you want to bring that back up for us, Ash, that chart? So just so we can compare
our
it.
biggest group
Yep.
is 16 to 25,
Wow.
and quite considerably.
A lot
under
of those
16s
that
not
I
so
think
much.
I will say is there's a fair $5 casuals in those.
I
Does
don't
that
think
is
this
that
one
included?
has the $5. I think this has got the actual members.
Is that just members?
Okay.
I
okay.
don't think this counts as
Is
prospects.
that surprising to you, Danny? Did you know that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
You're
no, it
watching that
must
stuff.
have.
You're watching that stuff on a constant
on.
basis. And I love the way that you guys email when people don't turn up after a
When
while.
you don't.
Yeah, so 3 weeks after 21 days, if you haven't been
Yeah.
in, we say, and people will come in and say to me,
I got your email the other day.
I was
say.
going to
Have Mars in the
reply
gym
with
for
a
a while.
smart ass comment. I thought, no, I'll leave it.
Yeah, so and Danny will say, Danny sort of keeps an eye on that stuff more so than me during the day, but he'll say, "Oh, I haven't seen."
Well, you know what I love
Such
about
and
that?
such.
That's just like a check-in with your mates.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, how you going?
Yeah.
You know, how's things? You know, you're not hassling us. You're just
Yeah.
saying, look, we've noticed that you're not there. Just like
Yeah.
if I haven't talked to my mate, you know, I'll check in with him and give him a
Yeah.
call or a text and say, how you doing? You know, which is great. It's a great system.
So in the reverse too, we've got a guy recently that's a member, and he's really locked in, but he was coming a lot, and I said to him, "You need to be careful. You're not overtraining here."
A lot isn't
Like
what,
you're-
7, 6,
like
7
twice
days a
a
week?
day, and
Oh,
he
really?
was and he was hard on cardio, and really inspired. But
Yep.
I said it's good to be
Motivated.
inspired, but you need
The first timer or not?
no, but he sort of let
Getting back
himself
into
go,
it.
and he was getting back into it. And I just said, you need to also be conscious of that. So we
Yeah.
do the reverse. If you're not there, we want to know,
Yeah.
are you okay? But if you're there a lot, also, are you okay? Like, this is a big investment, and the physicality of it too is taxing.
Well, that's brilliant. That's absolutely.
Yeah.
I bet you don't get those with those cookie cutter gyms, do you? I bet you
Well, I
that
don't know if
service
they
isn't
notice.
afforded. No, because they're just looking at the bottom line, aren't they? They're looking at the dollars and the
Statistics.
cents.
An old
Yeah.
mate here, someone can come in our gym that he wouldn't have seen for 17 years, and you'll say their name, and they go, "Oh,
You remember
he
my name?
knows who I am."
That's a quality I don't have.
Kudos. I don't have that either.
No.
I call everyone babe.
It's
But,
so, hey mate.
yeah.
That's the backup.
So when I come and I call you mate, you know I've got dementia.
yeah.
Yeah, so that's, I
Yeah.
think that's one of our aims.
That's great.
To see-
Those are great stats.
But those breakdowns similar to that,
Yeah.
from what I can see about the
Well, that's
different
good. That's
breakdown of
good that
numbers
we've got the correct information and we're not palming off bullshit stats.
No.
to
And
our-
the,
to our listeners.
one of the
and
best
viewers.
things about that graph or those stats is the other end from the 40s, 50s and 65s pluses have all increased, I think, throughout the whole fitness industry, particularly in the last 10 or 15, 20 years. It's all got higher. Now, there's can be a combination of from, 20, 30 years ago, people who are in the 18 to 24 category may have stayed at gyms for 30 years.
Yep.
However, there wouldn't be that many of them, but there would be some. But I think the nation is getting more educated to the benefits of exercise. And yes, I need to go for a walk. I mean, the amount of people that are going for a walk these days in comparison, if you looked at 30 years ago, there wasn't that many, but now there's so many people who, yes, just walk for fitness, and that's awesome. So I think Australia, the world, is getting more educated to the benefits of exercise, and that I need to go and do something for my health. So hang on. Oh, okay, I can live longer. That's not a bad thing.
Do you think that's in part with mental health awareness? Do you think those two go hand in hand?
Yeah.
Of course, yes, 100%. But I think it's more again about the education of, the amount of, well, now it's social media, but previous to the social media explosion in the last 10 years or more, before that, the amount of health magazines and fitness magazines that are on newsagents' racks, and there's still a lot out there, of course, people just getting educated. And, there was a thing in the Herald Sun, don't even know if it's still there because I don't buy the newspaper anymore, on a Sunday or something, healthy living,
Yeah.
and just with, 6-8 pages of benefits of health and food and eating right, and, so I think, again, in comparison to, 1983 or 1956, more people have more knowledge these days. And again, of course, internet tells you everything.
Hey, Ash, can you bring up about where we are in the world as far as our health and fitness in comparison? Like, we must be we're a pretty healthy
Well, it's
nation,
a bit of,
I imagine.
it's I saw something on the internet the other day regarding, there was a video set in New York City and another one maybe set in London, and it just sat there for about 15 minutes and watched rush hour people walking to work I'm talking in the city, and there was pretty much not one obese person. And it was a video from the 50s, the 40s.
Yep.
So
Obesity
yes,
is definitely
Yes.
are now a problem.
I think
97.
a whole lot of people know the benefits of health and fitness, but there's another extreme of that the obesity numbers, of course, unfortunately, are a lot higher. And jeepers, the stats out of obesity and overweight in America, I heard recently, are just getting higher and higher and
Well,
higher.
Australia is not that far behind.
No,
us.
100%.
They
Very
just said a
much.
third of Aussies don't exercise enough.
There we go. So if you want to scroll that back up to that one, Ash.
That is
So the World Health Organization studies found that Australia ranks just 97th in the world when it comes to the number of people getting enough physical activity. Well, that goes to what we were just talking about the obesity rate in Australia getting higher and higher. And I think we're second behind America. Can you fact check that for me? So
I hope
there,
that's not true.
there, and there's really no excuses. 5,109 gyms and fitness centres in Australia as of 2023. Now, that's an increase of 1.6% from 2022. So you think prior to COVID and then after COVID, there's more gyms, more health facilities after COVID than what there was prior to COVID.
And I know we hate COVID, but I thought COVID put a firecracker up everyone's ass. There were people out kicking footies with their kids. There was more people walking that river than I've ever seen in my lifetime.
Exactly.
I thought that
Yep.
was a catalyst
Bike riding.
for us to be better.
But the funny thing,
These
the
stats don't say
unfortunate thing is that people forget so fucking soon, don't they? Yeah, they were forced into a situation, and then now COVID's over, people go back and they default to normal. They just revert back to what they were doing.
well,
back
because
to
we're
their
animals,
busy,
we want to be comfortable.
back to their busy lives. You know, I hope a lot of people have changed their outlook because of COVID. If that's the only thing that came out of COVID that was any good, thank God for that. But yeah,
But those stats aren't saying that. So my take would have been that people were becoming more active again as a result. And you would think if the gyms have grown, there must be a market.
well,
But those stats aren't saying that.
So the gym industry in Australia is a $2 billion industry. It's huge, and as we can see by those stats, it's growing, which is a good thing. So once again, it comes back down to that education. The more people that are getting educated about their health, their well-being, and cause and effect, you know, the more people we're going to see getting off those couches, going for walks, kicking footy with their kids, and making better choices. I mean, I don't even know what the stats are on people smoking these days, but if they're not smoking, they're vaping. And it's like, you know, you look at what you're doing to your body on a regular basis. I mean, I'm an ex-smoker. I smoked for 20 years. And fuck, I hate to think what my body was saying to me through that whole period. But I just ignored it. I mean, I was training at the gym as well, but, you know, it doesn't balance out. It doesn't work that way. You know, if you're doing something that's like overeating or smoking, it's going to win out in the end. You know, it doesn't matter how much fitness or health or how much fitness you put in there.
Yeah.
You know, you're still gonna die of something related to smoking, you know, or overeating. And that's the thing, is like people shoving stuff in their mouths, and there's no consciousness about what it's doing to them. You know?
And it's the ease. I mean, really, it's the ease.
Yeah. I was going to talk about the younger generation, because the one stat that we did look at was the amount of youth getting in the gyms. Which, have you noticed that yourself personally, that the trend for younger people training and wanting to get healthy and wanting to get fit? Have you noticed it?
Yeah, look, we have parents every so often that come in and say, "Hey, my child, literally child, as in 10, has expressed an interest in doing some training and doing some exercise." And look, probably rule of thumb for how old are you? How old is old enough to go to a gym for the industry kind of average, fitness industry average? I'd say probably 15, 16 before you're almost allowed to go to a gym.
What's the age group with you guys? What's the minimum age?
Well, I'm happy for a 10-year-old to come to Kennedy's, but they would have to be literally linked and connected to their parent or guardian for that whole time that they're in there. That's the number one rule.
That's just about safety, isn't it?
Exactly right.
Because
but
we
not-
care about the execution. They can go to gyms and just be
But-
left.
Yes, but not with, them coming in for their third session, their fourth session, their fifth session, and mum or dad takes the kid through an age-appropriate exercise regime, and then after, session 11, then one day you walk in and then the child and the mum or dad, whoever, feels comfortable in the environment, and we know what we're doing and where we're going, and then you see mum upstairs on the treadmill and a 10-year-old down here, downstairs by itself. No, sorry, that's not right. Can't do that. So as long as that 10-year-old does, again, age-appropriate exercise, body weight exercise, and that's kind of, again, therefore all kind of safe and good for that young child's body to get fitter, to run, to jump, to hang off things, whatever it may be, like monkey bars in the schoolyard, then good. Create a habit with that young person to exercise on a regular basis.
It's going to stay with them for life, isn't it?
Hopefully, yes.
And they go back to it. If they start early, they go back to it more readily. Even if they all become teenagers and start becoming Macca's eaters,
Yeah.
they
The thing is
tend
that
to
they
go back to it.
and they're going to see the change in their bodies because 10's probably not the age where the testosterone is starting to flow, but if you're looking 12, 13, 14,
Yeah.
and they've got all these hormones raging through them, and they're going to see these changes, and socially, that's a good thing because it gives them confidence.
Yeah.
You know,
There's more young girls weight training than I've ever seen.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
much bigger
Yeah.
industry. I think that's had a big growth.
15 up.
do you reckon?
weight
Do you
training.
reckon that's driven by social media?
Yeah.
Yeah,
100%.
100%.
Booties,
They just want those big
the
butts.
big booties, and I don't know. I think that they value. Luckily, they value the physique of it. That strong-looking physique. They're not trying to be
Well, they're
waif
not-
thin.
They're not doing themselves an injustice, are they? I mean,
No.
regardless of their motivation, they're still living a healthy life, And sure, post that stuff on Insta.
Yeah.
People like that.
And a byproduct of doing exercise, being fit, also is you tend to eat healthier
Well, yeah, because
because you don't undo what you just did.
you see the results.
So you're less
Yeah.
likely to eat 2 donuts.
Yeah.
You might still eat a donut. And I'm a big advocate for, I don't like some of the, I hate the word toxic because it's such a big
Toxic.
buzzword at the minute. But the way the food thing and counting and people getting so stringent on their diets, I think that's also a negative thing. But these girls know they can eat a donut. Just don't eat 5. And when you are fit and you've been to the gym, you won't do it. You're less likely to eat the 5th donut.
Well, that creates that balance in life, which
Yeah.
you apply to other stuff as well. So,
Yeah.
a lot of diets and a lot of people fail at diets because they just go too hard,
Yeah.
too hard.
And they remove everything.
And
They
then,
remove
exactly,
the joy.
and then they start craving stuff, and it's like, I work out on a regular basis. I love eating out. I'll not eat something on the thinking that I've got to go back to the gym. I mean, the gym is just part of my life,
Yeah.
and eating, and a lot of times eating for me is just fuel, but I do enjoy food. Like on a weekly basis, I have a diet or I have a menu. It's not a diet. I don't
No.
think of it as a diet. It's a menu, but on the weekends or on occasion, we'll go out and I'll indulge, and I'm going to enjoy stuff that is available to my life.
And we're social beings. Like, food is social too. It's not
Well, we were talking about
just
it in
fuel. It's actually social.
we were talking about in the previous podcast with Jared and Brendan about barbecuing, about food. It's an experience. It's a
That was
journey,
cool,
and it's something that you share with your family and your friends. And that ritual of cooking and eating is a part of a lot of cultures. So you should never deny yourself those experiences.
Yeah.
But
You have to manage them, but not deny.
yeah, so
Like,
it's,
you've
so
gotta be conscious.
life, I think life in general is about balance. It's just keeping that balance. If you go off the rails, as long as you get back on, you shouldn't feel guilty. And I think a lot of people have that guilt. A lot of cultures have that guilt, surrounded around food and other stuff. And it's just guilt doesn't come into my it doesn't. It's not in my wheelhouse.
On our
Which is good.
social media, I try to really portray that part of make good choices, but don't die by the sword. you know. And there's a lot of good, I'm mainly an Instagram girl, but there's a lot of fitness guys on there at the minute that are giving good healthy recipes as substitutes, but saying you're not changing the world by not eating that one chocolate that day. Like you're not putting yourself off the rails by eating that. You just be mindful of the
Just
whole
try
time.
not to have 10 chocolates.
Yeah.
Every
Hey,
day.
I've got a stat here. Gym goers eat more chocolate. Is that correct?
I've
Could
only just
be.
become a chocolate eater, but yeah, that
Yeah.
could be
Could
correct.
be.
I don't
could
do it.
be.
It gives me migraines, unfortunately, but I do indulge. Yeah, I do indulge in it. It's like, fuck it. I mean, the satisfaction of eating chocolate as opposed to maybe getting a migraine, I'll take a chance.
Well, we've got a lolly pig on our
take a
bench, and that has a pretty steady stream of hands in it. We have little
They
tiny
are
packets
they are
of-
individual packets. It's
Yeah.
somebody visualising a hand in a like a peanuts.
Well, that was a
at
COVID
bar.
change. We used to have snakes,
Yes.
lolly snakes, and then
Yeah,
COVID
just put your
brought
hand in.
about the individual bags. But they're constantly, people will walk out of the weights area and just grab a pack of lollies on there.
Hey, another thing about gyms that I've learned is that apparently are a good place to pick up.
Oh.
Have you
Really?
found that?
I have no idea. I have no experience in that,
No
Brendan.
experience. Where'd you meet your lovely wife?
And a Pilates studio.
Wow.
actually.
So gyms, Pilates
Ah.
studios, health and fitness.
Wow.
Yes.
You are exactly what we're
Yes.
talking about.
So
Yes,
surprisingly,
we met in her Pilates studio, and that was 15 years ago.
Did you go there specifically to do the class or to see the instructor?
To do Pilates for my back.
Right.
Yeah, to see Pilates was just kind of starting kind of in Australia at that point. Hadn't been around long, and it's starting to build a bit of a momentum. And I'm talking 10% of the current momentum that it has now, or its position now. And I wanted to more go to learn about it.
You want to understand what it's all about.
Yes, and discover more about it. And again, I was having back issues at the time, so I wanted to try and fix that up as well, and it did. And yes,
and then you got a
the-
wife out of it. Not bad.
yeah, the instructor was very nice.
She's lovely. You want to
She's
shout out to
extremely
Alison?
lovely.
Alison.
Yeah, you want to
And
say
of
hello?
course, yes, and she was so lovely. I married her.
Do you want to mention her Pilates studio?
Simply Pilates,
Where are they located?
Bay Street, Brighton.
Brighton.
Upstairs in Bay Street, Brighton. A very large Pilates. And if I can just give a 30-second rant on Pilates,
Sure.
there's
Time's ticking.
Pilates, and then there's what people think is Pilates these days.
Right.
There's a man called Joseph Pilates who invented, you might say, an exercise regime that became known as Pilates. And he invented a workout with a certain amount of reps and a certain format and a certain everything, this exercise followed by that exercise, all for different reasons. Pilates got popular around the world. If I can very much generalize, the physiotherapy world got a hold of it because it was popular and they saw they could make money out of it, and they do, and that's great. But what clinical Pilates is ain't what that is.
Okay, so if there's a Pilates studio connected to a physio studio or a physiotherapist, we're saying avoid that if you want the true Pilates.
I won't use the words avoid it.
I just did.
Yes, you did. I won't use the word avoid it, but it's just different.
Okay.
This is a workout. This can help you. This is a workout. This can help you as well.
Okay.
But that ain't that simple. And then there's other extensions now of businesses that are, if I can use the term, they're a bit like the F45 principle that popped up in the fitness world, which is great in what it does. But there's different Pilates businesses now that are group Pilates and high reps and give you a good workout. But again, that's not that, and it's certainly not that.
Okay, so just to clarify, Alison at Simply Pilates
Does traditional,
Does
more
what's
traditional
what's
based.
called classical Pilates.
Classical.
Then there's physio, which is clinical
right?
Pilates, and then there's Pilates done in, I won't even mention their names, but they small group training classes, not small, 10, but 15, 20 people, maybe more in the class, but they've all got to have a machine, like a reformer kind of thing, but a modified reformer, not an original reformer. And they do Pilates workouts, and it's good for people who are attracted to it through social media.
Right. Okay. Hey, apparently 12% of all gym members sign up to gyms in January. So we know January is the sweet spot for new sign-ups. Yet these memberships seem to be short-lived, and according to the Health and Fitness Association, after just 24 weeks, most people have quit or stopped attending. Is that? Have you experienced that? Obviously, it's prevalent in your industry. What's your experience with it?
I think we get that a little bit less so. We have been gradually growing. We might have a week where Daniel will say, "Oh, we've had some cancellations."
It's always cancellations,
But
and there's always cancellations in a good way at Kennedy's because we don't have contracts.
Yeah,
so
and
that
the
is the
growth
flexibility of people to
tends to
join and
overtake
stop
it.
whenever they want.
Yeah,
But yes,
the
as a
growth
rule,
tends to overtake it. So
our growth is growing.
our graphs show, our whole screen's covered in graphs with the breakdown of members and breakdown of sex and kinds of memberships. And there's the new members line and the cancellations line. The cancellations line stays pretty plateaued, and the new members line has a constant state of growth.
Well, as you say,
We're very lucky like that. We don't tend to have...
Inherently, it's going to happen. But as you say, if you've still got that growth. Hey, look, we're getting to the end of this. We've had a really good chat, and I think a lot of people have gotten some tidbits out of this. Have you got a top 5 of do's and don'ts in the gym? Personal do's and don'ts. Give me something that you don't like or something that you do like that you want people to know or you want people not to do. Give me a top 5.
Don't overthink it. Just move. Do something.
Yep.
You have to do something.
That's 1. 2, Danny?
I just think in life in general as well, but yes, very much in the gym, just to be mindful of other people.
That's a common courtesy. It's about respect,
Exactly
as you
right.
say.
Just
Everybody
to be mindful of other people,
Yep.
what you say, what you do, how you say it, and little things like, I'm going over here and I'm going to use these dumbbells and I'm just going to stand here and do this. Right, whatever the exercise
Danny
is.
just put his arms over his head again. I'm just
Yes, up and
speaking
down,
just
up and down. But that person will...
And if you're watching, that was no real technique. I don't know what he was actually
That's
doing.
right.
But anyway.
But that person will then walk 1.5 meters over here and put their towel and their phone and their water bottle, if they've got a towel, on a bench. But then they're 1.5 meters over here doing the exercise. And then there's no one in the gym,
Yeah.
right, or near them. So fair call, put the towel on the bench or the water bottle. But then someone up there or someone over there then comes down and they want to use that bench.
Just because
and they don't, because your towel's on it.
Oh.
Don't put your towel on the bench if you're not using it.
Hey, can I do number 3?
Don't be
Go.
fucking rude then. That's
Don't
all.
be down one end of the gym and fart and then walk.
Is that
and
what
then
you
walk.
do?
Don't crop dust. Fucking hell,
Crop
man.
dust.
People, especially young guys, they will crop dust the shit out of that place sometimes. And it's
Really?
like, yeah, you don't notice it?
Never.
No, I don't really stay near
Really?
them.
No.
I'm too busy buzzing around.
Too much bloody protein,
Really?
that's their problem.
Okay.
Anyway,
Could be.
that's tip number 3.
No, so I think ask questions. When you're in a gym and you don't know how that machine works, or if you're doing something, it doesn't hurt to come and check. Am I doing this right? Because of that, you can not just injure yourself. You're not going to get the benefit if you don't ask those questions. And like I said, something as simple as a kettlebell swing. People will come, they've been doing kettlebell swings for 5 years, and I say, that's not a shoulder exercise. Like traditional just a kettlebell swing.
Yeah,
That's for the posterior chain of your body. Like if you're feeling it here,
got it wrong.
you're lifting the kettlebell. Ask me the question, or take on board. If I've said something in a class, and we're in the heat of the moment, and you're trying to do this exercise, come back afterwards and say, what were you trying to tell me about that form? Like you're doing yourself all sorts of
Just
benefits
try to be better.
be learned.
it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
but
learn.
I say to people sometimes that the staff in any gym, again, but at Kennedy's, we are here for you to use us as much as you want. you can not use us at all and do what you do and achieve what you achieve, but occasional little chats or a personal training session or a gym program where we go through form and technique, so you do it so you're not, because a lot of young guys will come into the gym and the first thing they'll go do is their arms. Oh, I've got to do my biceps, right?
Got to get the guns going, bro.
The beach muscles, right?
Yeah.
The gun show.
The
Cool,
gun show.
and that's nice. But then I see them later on and they go and do something else, but then I see them later on and then they're doing their upper back, their lats, their pull downs.
Oh, they're mixing it up.
Yeah, mixing it up in reverse. Anyway, technically, that's not great. You got to do your lats before your biceps. But dudes will come in and just do it, but they don't know, they don't ask, and
I think
it's unfortunate because they then could achieve so much more, so much quicker.
kids are like, I was like that when I grew up. I fucking knew everything. You know, I knew what I was doing. You know, what's
I'm
that?
like that now.
You're like that now.
Just a know-it-all bastard.
Yeah. Okay, the last one, 5. What's the fifth one? Fifth top tip.
Change it up.
Yep, that's a good one.
Change it up.
Variety.
Keep it fresh.
Yeah, the body
Yeah.
likes variety. Yes, because there's lots of people, again, that can go to gyms and do the same stuff. And, like, I remember years ago I was teaching 1 or 2 aerobic classes at Fitness First on Bayside. This is before I started Kennedy's. Maybe even in 1999, I was still doing a little bit there. And there was a guy that I remember from years before that at the King Club in Sandringham, and he was a little fella. He was about 5'10". He was about 50 years old. He was skinnier again than the pinky finger, but he was a marathon kind of runner. He was a long distance runner, and I saw him at Fitness First. So I'd seen this guy over a period of 15, 20 years, and he was doing that exercise where you lie on your back and your legs go out and your elbows rotate, so you're working your kind of abs, but
Like
your
the
waist.
bicycle.
Yeah, the bicycle kind of thing, like that, right? Anyway, he had modified the exercise over 20 years to be just doing this. And it looked kind of...
And for those people just listening,
It's like a spastic dead bug.
Yeah,
pissed. Yeah. So, but clearly that dude had never spoken to a trainer. And his weights were all fast and throwing them around, and
they probably did the same
there's
workout the whole 20
There's
years.
some good
Yes.
funny videos on social media if you want to look
Crackers.
at.
Do you change yours up though? Like I can't see you come in and you do
My-
your weights and that. Do you change up?
I go through periods. So the last one prior to going away snowboarding was a strength base. I probably didn't do as much HIIT or cardio, and I felt that when I was over there. But I had strong legs, so it's just finding that balance. So at the moment, I'm doing a little bit more cardio because I'm probably carrying a little bit more weight because I like my beers too much.
Yeah.
But yeah, as you say, you've got to mix it up. And I'm not one to just get a program and just stick with it forever.
no.
Because I want that variety, and you know, things change and my attitude changes. And 1 minute I want a bigger solid body, and the next one I want a slimmer lean down one.
Faster one.
Yeah, exactly. So
Polar.
And that's what, again, another thing, if I can put this last bit in, for people who are doing the same things all the time, doing some other type of training can actually help what you're doing over here.
yes, definitely.
And help that to get better by doing some, say, power moves, like in getting behind the sled and pushing it and trying to throw the sled, if you know what I mean, you know, and then coming and doing like a power kind of move, which will help your bench press or your push-ups or your whatever it may be. So, yeah, variety, the body likes variety, and that can help what your initial kind of goals are by mixing it up.
I think on that note, we'll leave it there. As I said, once again, thank you very much. I really appreciate your time on a Sunday morning. I know it's one of the only days you guys get off. You do work very hard. So as I said, thank you. I'm sure our listeners and our viewers are going to enjoy what we're going to put to them. And
Hopefully.
saying that, I hope you guys can come back on a regular basis because I do think that we've got more to give our listeners and our viewers. So once
This
again,
was a learning curve for us.
well, as I've said to her, I guess, I mean, the hardest thing about doing what we're doing here at Lewis is actually getting people to commit to sit in the chair. Once they get here and they sit down, we're having a conversation. And what we're trying to do is we're just trying to bestow a bit of knowledge onto our listeners and our viewers. And hopefully from there, if they grab one or two little bits and pieces from what we've said today or what we've covered, you know, that's all that matters to me. And I think from your point of view, that's what it's about, that education. It's about learning people, you know, wanting to be learned. That's a real word. Yeah, we'll use that. So as I said, once again, thank you very much, and I hope to see you back.
Pleasure. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Guys.
That's a wrap,
Remember
Ash.
cameras.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for tuning in and for your time. You know the vibe, I'm steady living until I die. It's a lewd state of mind, and we showed you that. Keep it authentic and real, I hope you coming back. Hey, make sure that you subscribe, cause we got it popping all the time, and it's going down. If you wanna elevate, wanna live a better life, keep it locked here. You know it's a lewd state of mind, let's go.